Butcher like you be a conceptual god. Can a real dragon be slaughtered like a pig? Chapter 21. When Yi Chuan said this, Yi Qiwan and Wu Jingzhu were both worried. The two looked at each other and saw fear in each other's eyes. Is your son abnormal? What's so abnormal about this? It can't be what they think, right? You don't like women? Wu Jingzhu asked tentatively. Yi Chuan nodded. Wu Jingzhu was silent for a while, then raised her hand and touched Yi Chuan's head, saying lovingly, "It's okay. Mom is very open-minded. Go ahead and pursue your happiness. Just stay away from your dad." Yi Chuan: "No, Mom, not only do I not like women, I also don't like men. To be precise, I don't like humans." Yi Chuan explained. "Are you from the second dimension?" the couple asked in unison. "Not really." Yi Chuan was thinking about his words. Could it be? Yi Qiwan's face changed. "Xiaochuan, you must not learn from the old Tang family. There is no way for humans and beasts to get along. Don't make mistakes." No, Yi Chuan was completely determined and prepared to make his point clear in one breath. Otherwise, he couldn't imagine what outrageous things his parents could come up with. "I went to the hospital for a checkup and the doctor said that my cervical spine was compressing the nerves, which caused me to have mental illness. That's why I see all animals as pigs. I've had this disease since I can remember, but I never dared to tell you." Yi Qiwan was silent, smoking one cigarette after another without saying anything. Wu Jingzhu didn't know what to say. She felt like her CPU was about to burn out. "You are a butcher. You are mentally ill. You think every creature is a pig. Doesn't that mean you can kill all creatures as if they were pigs?" In the face of Wu Jingzhu's incredulous eyes, Yi Chuan nodded. Wu Jingzhu was silent. She snatched the cigarette from Yi Qiwan's hand and started smoking as well. "Don't you know how to smoke?" Yi Qiwan was stunned. "I only quit after I met you." Wu Jingzhu puffed through her lungs, and 2 columns of white smoke shot out of her nostrils. "Honey, do you think Xiaochuan's job is a combat job?" "I think, let's count it." Yi Qiwan frowned. Seeing the two of them looking worried, Yi Chuan hurriedly comforted them. "Dad, Mom, don't worry, I will definitely be able to handle Lu Xing's situation. Trust me." Yi Qiwan nodded absent-mindedly. Lu Xing. He didn't take this kind of 6th-level ascending realm stuff seriously. Yi Qiwan is not worried about Lu Xing now, but how he is going to explain the fact that Yi Chuan can kill all living creatures like pigs. He knew very well that the fact that Yi Chuan saw everything as a pig had nothing to do with him, but once the news got out, those people would definitely think that he had deliberately trained him that way. By then, the peaceful life of their family of 3 will definitely be disrupted. "My son is really a traitor to his father. Xiaochuan, did the doctor tell you whether your disease, which makes you see everything as pig, can be cured?" Yi Qiwan asked. "Yes, I need surgery. If it fails, I will be paralyzed below the neck." Yi Chuan answered truthfully. Yi Qiwan closed his eyes in pain. What's the difference between this and being incurable? It seems that this is God's will. Never mind. If enemies come, we will fight them. If floods come, we will block them with earth. Yi Qiwan opened his eyes, and a gleam of light flashed in his eyes. "Xiaochuan, come with Dad." Although Yi Chuan didn't understand why, he hurriedly followed. Yi Qiwan took him to the slaughterhouse. It was already nightfall and there was no one in the slaughterhouse except the 2 of them, father and son. Yi Qiwan finished smoking a cigarette and crushed the cigarette butt before saying this. "Dad has been slaughtering pigs for many years and has gained a lot of insights. He has created a set of pig-killing knife techniques. I will teach them to you today. You will have a good time." The moment he held the knife, Yi Qiwan's whole aura seemed to have changed into a different person, and the butcher knife in his hand seemed to have turned into a peerless divine weapon. The truth is simplicity, and the same is true for killing pigs. The knife used to kill pigs does not need so many fancy moves, only accuracy and speed. Only by simplifying the complex can we understand the true meaning, so this set of butchering knife skills only has 3 moves. The first knife is called Meteorite. Yi Qiwan slashed with his sword. In an instant, a brilliant galaxy appeared in front of Yi Chuan's eyes. A flash of knife light cut through the sky, and the starry sky instantly lost its original brilliance. One by one, the stars dimmed and fell from the sky. Wherever the sword flashes, the stars perish. No one is spared. The extremely shocking scene made Yi Chuan stand there in a daze, his eyes wide open. The second knife is called Falling Moon. Yi Qiwan swung the butcher knife in his hand again, and suddenly countless bright moonlight bloomed between heaven and earth. A bright full moon rose slowly, so beautiful that it was breathtaking. The next second, there was a flash of knife. In the sky, the holy and undefiled full moon was split into two. The full moon, which was split into two halves, deviated from its orbit and fell downwards. The surrounding space was distorted due to the disappearance of the full moon. The moment it landed, the split moon exploded into countless silver lights, so beautiful that it was heart-pounding. The third sword is called Sun Devourer. Yi Qiwan's eyes became serious. He raised the butcher knife in his hand high and chopped it out. The butcher knife emitted an extremely bright blade light, which shot straight into the sky. In the distant sky, the blazing and dazzling sun trembled because of this knife, and its light shrank rapidly until it was completely extinguished. At this moment, everything in the world was shrouded in darkness, as if the end of the world had come, and the sun's light was completely swallowed up at this moment. This knife seemed to have cut off all the light in the world. Yi Qiwan took several steps back before he could steady himself. He couldn't help but close his eyes. The three slashes that Yi Qiwan had just made kept replaying in his mind and were deeply engraved in his mind. As long as Yi Qiwan wants, he can start to comprehend these three swords at any time. But somehow, Yi Qiwan had a feeling that he might not be able to use even the simplest first blade meteorite blade now. He looked at Yi Qiwan, his father who slaughtered pigs every day. At this moment, he actually gave him a feeling of looking up to a mountain. These three knife techniques are the pig-killing techniques I created. If you learn these three knife techniques, you will have learned all my skills in killing pigs. Yi Qiwan said. Yi Qiwan's expression looked a little strange, and he couldn't help but ask. Dad, are these three knives really used to kill pigs? Of course, I'm your biological father, how could I lie to you? Yi Qiwan glared at Yi Qiwan unhappily. Why do I feel like something seems to be wrong? Yi Qiwan scratched his head in confusion. He knew that his father Yi Qiwan had been slaughtering pigs for many years and was a well-known butcher who also created his own pig-killing knife technique. But these three knives don't look like they are used to kill pigs. What kind of pigs can be killed with these three knives? Marshal Tianpeng Zhu Baji. Okay, stop nagging me and think carefully about the three knives I taught you. I'm too old to stay up late, so I'm going back to sleep first. Yi Qiwan stretched and turned back into that harmless and honest butcher. It was as if the person who had just swung out those three shocking sword strikes was not him at all. After walking out of the slaughterhouse, Yi Qiwan smiled meaningfully in the night and murmured to himself. Silly boy, do you really think those three swords are butchering techniques? Your realm is still low, learning those three swords is like copying a cat. One day, when you step into the realm of the emperor, these three swords will be able to cut down the gods. After Yi Qiwan left, Yi Qiwan was obviously itching to do something. He picked up a butcher knife from the side, and imitated Yi Qiwan's just moved moves, slashing fiercely with the knife and shouting loudly. Meteor, not to mention cutting out a galaxy like Yi Qiwan did. Yi Qiwan didn't even see a ray of starlight. He was a little bit skeptical, so he closed his eyes and began to recall the movement of Yi Qiwan's first knife in his mind, and then he kept swinging the knife. Gradually, Yi Qiwan's mind was completely immersed in it. Once, twice, 100 times, 1,000 times. By the end, Yi Qiwan himself couldn't remember how many times he had swung his sword. Dawn had broken in the sky, and the first ray of sunlight in the early morning completely tore through the inky black night. At that moment, Yi Xuanfu suddenly came to his mind, as if he had grasped something, and swung out with a fierce knife. Yi Qiwan felt that all the strength in his body had been drained by this knife. In a trance, he seemed to see a galaxy, and then everything went black before his eyes, and he knew nothing. When Yi Qiwan woke up again, he was already lying on a hospital bed. As soon as I opened my eyes, the face of the female doctor wearing rimless glasses from last time came into view. Her expression was a little serious. At this time, the female doctor was talking to his mother Wu Jingzhu. Your son is fine, he just fainted from exhaustion. His physical examination report shows that he performed extremely high intensity and strenuous exercise in a short period of time, which caused him to suffer from severe hypoglycemia and anemia, so he fainted. Super high intensity strenuous exercise. Wu Jingzhu's face was full of confusion. The female doctor pushed her frameless glasses with one hand. Judging from the amount of lactic acid accumulated in his body, he probably did 1,000 sit-ups, 1,000 push-ups, 1,000 squats, and ran 100 kilometers in one night. Doctor, you are kidding me. Wu Jingzhu was stunned. Can humans accomplish these things in one night? No normal person would do such a thing, but considering your son Yi Chuan's mental state, I think it's reasonable. The female doctor's tone was very serious. The last time she treated Yi Chuan, she had always remembered it in her mind. She hadn't seen such an epileptic patient for a long time. Therefore, I strongly recommend that you let Yi Chuan be hospitalized for treatment, and I will provide him with one-on-one correction and guidance. This. Wu Jingzhu hesitated for a moment, and at this moment, Yi Chuan's voice rang out. Mom, why am I in the hospital? Xiaochuan, you finally woke up, you scared your mother to death. When Wu Jingzhu saw Yi Chuan waking up, she couldn't hold back her tears anymore. Soon Yi Chuan learned from Wu Jingzhu why he appeared in the hospital. Early this morning, when the people at the slaughterhouse went to work, they saw Yi Chuan unconscious in the slaughterhouse. Seeing that Yi Chuan was still breathing, they quickly sent Yi Chuan to the hospital and notified Yi Chuan's parents. I fainted in the slaughterhouse. Yi Chuan felt his head was still a little confused. He remembered that he had been practicing the butchering knife technique his father taught him last night. How could he suddenly faint? It seems that I can't practice those 3 swords anymore until my realm is improved. Fortunately, he fainted in the slaughterhouse this time. If he had fainted in the wild, he would have been dragged out by the ferocious beast by the time he woke up. Mom, I'm fine, let me leave the hospital. Yi Chuan jumped up from the hospital bed. He had to improve his strength to the point where he could deal with the 6th level ascending realm before Lu Xing came again. Otherwise, he and his parents would definitely be in danger. Mr. Yi Chuan, please lie back on the bed. Your mental state is not optimistic right now. You need to be hospitalized for treatment. The female doctor stopped Yi Chuan. I'm fine. My mental state is that of playing Identity V. Yi Chuan ignored the doctor and pulled Wu Jingzhu out of the hospital. Are you kidding? If his mental illness is really cured, he will no longer see other creatures as pigs. Wouldn't he be useless on the spot? After leaving the hospital, Yi Chuan went straight to the slaughterhouse. Master Tiexin's sword has not been forged yet, so he cannot go out into the wild now. If he wants to improve his strength, he can only go back to the slaughterhouse and continue to kill pigs. In the next 9 days, Yi Chuan went out early and came back late every day, and there were only 3 things left in his life. Eat, sleep and kill pigs. In 9 days, he killed more than 500 pigs, and his realm was raised to the 9th level apprentice realm. Name, Yi Chuan. Profession, God level pig butcher. Level, 9th level apprentice 4.8%. Strength, 50. Agility, 50. Spirit, 50. Professional talents, Pig Nemesis, God-slaying blade. Professional skills, Blood Shadow Butcher LV1. Pig Nemesis, attacks cause an additional 1000% damage to pigs. Each time you kill a pig, the increase in this talent will be 1%, and the damage caused to you by pigs will be halved. God-slaying blade, select a weapon as a butcher knife. Every pig that dies under the butcher knife will provide you with 0.1 free attributes. Blood Shadow Butcher. The butcher releases his own evil spirit, forcing the pigs into a state of fear for 1 second. The gap between the 9th level apprentice realm and the 1st level entry realm is too big. Yi Chuan sighed helplessly. In fact, he had been at the 9th level apprentice level since the 3rd day. But after becoming a 9th level apprentice, the level increase from slaughtering a big fat pig decreased from 1% to 0.1%. This also means that the experience points he needed to break through the realm directly increased tenfold. We still have to go out into the wild. The slaughterhouse is upgrading too slowly. Although the additional damage of the pig nemesis can be increased in the slaughterhouse, without the support of the realm, the effect becomes very small. Assuming that the damage he can cause at the apprentice level is 5, then 1000% additional damage is 50 points. But if he reaches the entry level or master level, even without the 1000% extra damage bonus, the damage he can cause will be far more than 50 points. A blacksmith must be strong himself. The higher his realm, the greater his role as the nemesis of the pig clan will be. Fortunately, today is already the 10th day. Today is the day he and Master Tiexin agreed to pick up the knife. Yi Chuan went out early and came to Master Tiexin's residence. The second time he came, he was obviously familiar with the place. After knocking on the door, the pig-headed burly man from last time appeared again. He obviously knew Yi Chuan and brought him directly to Master Tai Shin. Master Tiashin, excuse me for disturbing you. I'm here to get the knife. Yi Chuan greeted politely. Well, you're here on time. The knife is already made. Xiao Li, bring the butcher knife over here. Master Tai Shin said to the pig-headed burly man next to Yi Chuan. Yes, master. The pig-headed burly man turned and left. A moment later, he came back holding a square sandalwood box and handed it to Yi Chuan. Yi Chuan took the sandalwood box and a look of surprise immediately appeared on his face. Because this sandalwood box weighs over 100 kilograms. My friend, here is the knife you want. Take a look and see if you like it. Master Tai Shin said with a smile. Yi Chuan was a little excited. He took a deep breath and opened the lid of the sandalwood box. A cold sword energy instantly spread out, and Yi Chuan even felt his skin was in pain from the ravages of this sword energy. His pupils shrank suddenly. Inside the sandalwood box, a heavy butcher knife was lying quietly on the silk. The blade of the butcher knife was glowing with an astonishing cold light, with silver lines winding around it, exuding a faint murderous aura. The handle and the blade are integrated, obviously forged from the same metal. Both sides of the handle are covered with anti-slip wooden material. A dark red blood groove extended from the blade to the end of the handle. It was obvious that Master Tai Shin had also considered the problem that the butcher knife was often used for killing and the blood would affect the feel. Yi Chuan reached out and picked up the butcher knife. It feels warm to the touch, but extremely heavy, like holding a sledgehammer. Yi Chuan simply waved it a few times, and the air made a sonic boom. Nice knife. Yi Chuan was very excited. They are both spiritual weapons. If the butcher knife made by Master Tai Shin belongs to Lu Biyu, then the Qingfeng knife he snatched from Lu Jinglong before belongs to Xing Daorong. Yi Chuan had a hunch that if he used this butcher knife to chop against the Qingfeng knife, he would probably be able to cut the Qingfeng knife off in just a few strokes. I'm glad that you are satisfied. Since you like it, you can give this knife a name. You will be the owner of this knife from now on. Master Tai Shin nodded with a smile. Name, then let's call it Dragon Slayer, Yi Chuan said, looking at the butcher knife in his hand. Slay the dragon. Even with Master Tiashin's temperament, he couldn't hold back at this moment. It's just a butcher knife, you named it Dragon Slayer. What do you want to do? Do you want to go to heaven? As long as you like it, little friend. Master Tai Shin and his disciples all had strange expressions on their faces at this moment, but there was nothing they could do since Yi Chuan was the party A. By the way, Master Tiashin, what level of spiritual weapon is this sword? Yi Chuan asked. Top grade yellow rank. Master Tai Shin replied. Yi Chuan took a deep breath. He saved Sha Nanan, and the Sha family gave him a yellow grade spiritual weapon as a thank you gift. It has to be said that the Sha family is indeed wealthy. He originally thought that having a lower grade yellow level butcher knife would be good enough. Thank you, Master Tiashin. I have something else to do, so I won't bother you any further. Yi Chuan, who was delighted to get his new sword, couldn't wait to go out of the city to try it out. With this top-grade yellow-grade butcher knife and the flame-scale soft armor on his body, Yi Chuan is confident of leaving the city again. Well, Xiao Li, see friend Yi Chuan off. Master Tai Shin nodded calmly. After leaving Master Tai Shin's residence, Yi Chuan went straight to the city gate. Now 10 days have passed, and Lu Xing only has 5 days left for him. During these 5 days, he had to at least break through to the first level of the Ascension Realm, so that he would be able to deal with Lu Xing with confidence. When leaving the city, Yi Chuan noticed that there were obviously many more injured job changers near the city gate. I don't know what's going on outside recently. Those alien races and ferocious beasts are like crazy, attacking everyone they see. It's so weird. Yes, I passed by an armored bull. I thought that the beast was a vegetarian and I was so far away from it that it should be fine. But the beast chased me for dozens of miles. What bad luck. Fortunately, I ran faster than my teammates. Has anything big happened recently? But the higher-ups haven't notified us. Anyway, I'll just stay out of the city less recently. The beasts outside have become more aggressive and their numbers have also increased. Going out of the city now is like lighting a light in the toilet, seeking death. Yi Chuan learned this from those who changed their jobs. Recently, there have been a lot more ferocious beasts and alien species in the wild, and they are extremely aggressive and will kill anyone they see. This is actually good news for him. He was worried that it would be difficult to find ferocious beasts outside the city. Amid the surprised looks of the crowd, Yi Chuan registered and went straight out of the city. He couldn't wait to find a ferocious beast to try out his new sword. But not long after he walked out of the city, Yi Chuan realized that he was being targeted. There were 3 people not far behind him, and although they were hiding very secretly, they still could not escape Yi Chuan's perception. After all, Yi Chuan's spiritual attribute at this moment has reached an astonishing 50 points. Many job changers in the Dengtang realm do not have such a high spiritual attribute. He remained calm, pretending that he had discovered nothing, and continued to move deeper into the wilderness. The people following him were obviously waiting for him to get away from the city gate. Sure enough, just as Yi Chuan arrived at a secluded place, he heard a sound of breaking air behind his ears. He suddenly lowered his head, and a slender flying knife flew past his scalp and cut off several strands of his black hair. Wow, you actually managed to dodge my sneak attack. A curly-haired young man, about 27 or 28 years old, walked out, playing with a flying knife that was shining with cold light in his hand. It was obvious that the knife just now was made by him. At the same time, a short fat man and a young man with a flat head also came out. The auras emanating from these 3 people were all at the peak of the 9th Order apprentice realm without exception. Brother Lu Xing was right in his guess. This kid actually dared to leave the city. It looks like he is planning to abandon his parents and run away. The short and fat man sneered. Boy, you are really patient. We have been waiting at the city gate for 10 days before we finally caught you. The young man with a flat head moved his neck. What did Brother Lu Xing say? If this kid dares to leave the city, I will cut his tendons and bring him back. The curly-haired young man licked his own flying knife, his eyes full of murderous intent. So what are you waiting for? Get started. A mace appeared in the short and fat man's hand, and he rushed towards Yi Chuan with the mace. Yi Chuan glanced at the 3 people calmly, and the smile on his face gradually brightened. I originally thought that the first time my dragon-slaying sword saw blood, it would be the blood of a ferocious alien beast, but I never expected it would be human blood. Yi Chuan reached into his backpack, grasped the handle of the dragon-slaying sword, and slowly pulled it out. A terrifying evil spirit instantly spread out, as if a demonic weapon that had seen countless blood was about to appear. The sharp blade energy could even cause pain to people's skin. The 3 curly-haired young men were all frightened. With such a terrifying aura and the domineering name of the dragon-slaying sword, it was hard not to think too much. Even the short and fat man stopped and didn't dare to move forward for a moment. Under the 3 people's suspicious gazes, Yi Chuan took out the dragon-slaying sword from his backpack. Clang! A shiny butcher knife sparkled in the sun. Looking at the brand new butcher knife, the 3 curly-haired young men were stunned at first, and then they burst into laughter. Ha 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 ha, you call this a dragon slayer? Isn't this thing used to kill pigs? No, buddy, I get up early every day to memorize jokes and play abstract games, but I'm still not as good as a talented player like you. You're too abstract. You're using a butcher knife as a dragon-slaying knife. Do you have any mental illness? The 3 of them laughed so hard that they fell over. The contrast between Yi Chuan's behavior before and after was really too great. Swish! A dazzling blade light flashed by. One of them stopped laughing abruptly. The young man with the flat head opened his eyes wide and stared at Yi Chuan blankly, with a look of disbelief in his eyes. And at some point, a thin bloodstain appeared on his throat. He stretched out his hand tremblingly and touched his neck. It was like the last straw that broke the camel's back. When he touched his throat, blood gushed out like a fountain. He fell backwards and was silent in an instant. The butcher Yi Chuan used the butcher knife to kill a 2-legged pig. His level increased by 5%. The pig nemesis's additional damage increased by 1%, and his free attribute increased by 0.1 points. Yi Chuan raised his eyebrows. It seemed that if you killed people like pigs, different people would provide different experience points. The higher the realm and the stronger the person, the greater the improvement in his strength. At this time, the curly-haired young man and the short fat man were completely stunned. Their smiles froze on their faces, and they stared blankly at the body of their companion, the flat-headed young man, with very funny expressions. He's dead. He's dead, the curly-haired young man muttered to himself, and even couldn't believe his eyes. It seems. The short and fat man's throat ball rolled up and down, and the hand holding the mace began to tremble. You know, the strength of the flat-headed young man is almost the same as theirs. Yi Chuan took a butcher knife and with just a swing, he slaughtered the flat-headed young man like a pig. They couldn't even see how Yi Chuan did it. Doesn't that mean that Yi Chuan can also kill them with one blow? Run! The curly-haired young man turned around and ran away without hesitation. No one wanted to joke with his own life. Seeing the curly-haired young man abandon him and run away, the short fat man got anxious and wanted to escape as well, but Yi Chuan had already arrived in front of him and slashed him with a knife. The short and fat man raised his mace to resist, but facing the top-grade yellow-level dragon-slaying sword, the metal mace in his hand was no different from a paper one. Swish! With one strike of the knife, the mace in the short and fat man's hand was directly split into two, and the cut was as smooth as a mirror. The short and fat man's body was also split into two. The curly-haired young man was so frightened that he ran away for his life. But before he ran far, a heavy butcher knife pierced through his heart and nailed him to the tree along with his body. The blood slid along the blood groove of the butcher knife and dripped onto the ground. Yi Chuan stepped forward and drew out his butcher knife. He didn't expect that Lu Xing would actually send people to surround him at the city gate. Fortunately, I have a new knife, otherwise it would be a bit tricky to deal with 3 9th-level apprentice-level pigs at the same time. After killing 3 people, Yi Chuan started his first looting in his life. All 3 of them are job changers, so they should have a lot of good stuff on them. The curly-haired young man was covered with a lot of flying knives and hidden weapons. Yi Chuan was not good at these things, so he didn't pick them up. The only good thing on the short and fat man was the mace, a low-grade yellow spiritual weapon, but unfortunately it had been chopped into pieces by Yi Chuan. What the flat-headed young man had on him disappointed Yi Chuan even more. This guy is a pervert, with all kinds of aphrodisiac incense all over his body. Yi Chuan even found a 3rd-grade Xuanian pill on him. It is said that if this thing is swallowed by the opposite gender, it will detonate the mysterious yin energy in their body and cause great mental chaos. No matter how strong the opposite gender is, they will become weak and allow themselves to be manipulated. Yi Chuan put the Xuanian pill away. Although he couldn't use it, it was at least a 3rd-grade pill and could fetch a lot of money if he sold it. Just when Yi Chuan thought that his harvest should be just this one Xuanian pill, he suddenly discovered that the flat-headed young man's clothes seemed to be bulging. He stepped forward, tore off the flat-headed young man's clothes, and found a skill scroll in the lining of his clothes. There is such a good thing. Yi Chuan was excited. Generally speaking, every time a job changer advances to a higher realm, he or she will unlock an exclusive skill related to the job. Apart from this, there are only 3 ways to acquire new skills. One is to create it on your own, but it is impossible to create skills on your own without years of experience. The second is to teach, such as the pig-killing knife skills that his father Yi Qiwan taught him step by step. The third is the skill scroll. The so-called skill scroll is where the predecessors seal up their experience in practicing a skill for future generations to learn. As long as you use the skill scroll, you can immediately master a new skill. This flat-headed man is useless, but it's a good thing for me. Yi Chuan used the bundle of skill scrolls without hesitation. Obtain intermediate physical skill, Netherworld Glimpse. Glimpses of the Netherworld minor achievement. After being activated, it increases one's own agility attribute by 30% and lasts for 30 seconds. Is it just an intermediate body movement skill? That's okay, it's free after all. Yi Chuan smiled. Skill levels, like job levels, are divided into elementary, intermediate, advanced, rare, epic, legendary, and godly levels. For a poor guy like Yi Chuan, getting a free intermediate skill scroll is already a great joy. After licking the bag, Yi Chuan did not leave. Instead, he cut open the stomachs of the 3 flat-headed men and climbed up a big tree nearby to hide. By using the strong smell of blood on the 3 people, it won't take long to attract all the ferocious beasts around. Instead of taking the trouble to search for it yourself, it would be more efficient to just sit here and wait. Sure enough, not long after, a thorn demon was attracted over. The thorn demons are a low-level group within the demon clan. They crawl on all 4s like gorillas, and their bodies are covered with exposed bone spurs. When faced with fatal danger, the thorn demon will shoot out all the bone spurs on its body at once. The thorn demon in front of him was obviously also at the 9th level apprentice realm. The thorn demon approached the 3 corpses and sniffed them, then looked around vigilantly, opened its big mouth full of fangs, bit off the head of the flat-headed young man, and began to chew it with relish. Crunch. The sound of teeth and bones rubbing against each other continued to be heard. The thorn demon was keeping an eye on its surroundings while eating, and did not notice at all that a figure had jumped down from the tree. By the time the thorn demon noticed Yi Chuan, it was too late. The thorn demon was startled and roared, and the bone spurs on its body shot out, trying to force Yi Chuan back. But how could Yi Chuan let it go as he wished? Yi Chuan suddenly twisted his waist, turned his back towards the thorn demon, and curled up into a ball. The bone spur fell on Yi Chuan's back, but couldn't penetrate into him at all. The flame scale soft armor played a huge role at this moment. After withstanding a wave of bone thorn attacks from the thorn demon, Yi Chuan turned around and slashed with his knife. The whole set of movements was completed in one go, instantly ending the life of the thorn demon. The butcher Yi Chuan used the butcher knife to kill a special pig. The level increased by 5%, the additional damage of the pig nemesis increased by 1%, and the free attribute increased by 0.1 points. After dealing with the thorn demon, Yi Chuan climbed up the tree again. It was as if he was fishing here, and the bodies of the 3 flat-headed men were his baits. Ferocious beasts kept coming here following the smell of blood. But what awaits them is not food, but Yi Chuan's butcher knife. Yi Chuan is a man who treats everyone equally. No matter what kind of ferocious beast it is or how strong it is, he will only strike once. With the 1000% bonus from the pig nemesis, no ferocious beast has appeared yet that can withstand his second blow. After all, this place is not that deep, and the highest ferocious beast that appears is only at the 9th level apprentice realm. He has not yet seen a ferocious beast at the advanced level. Gradually, as the corpses of the ferocious beasts piled up into a small hill, no more ferocious beasts dared to come here. After all, the ferocious beasts are not stupid. If there is a smell of blood in one place, it means there is food. If there is a particularly strong smell of blood in another place, it means they are food. There's no way to keep sitting there and waiting. It looks like we can only go deeper. Yi Chuan stretched lazily. His waist was sore from squatting on the tree for the whole day. At this moment, he is not far from breaking through to the Dangtang realm, so he still has to kill these powerful pigs to level up quickly. However, what he didn't know was that just as he set out to go deeper into the wilderness, a pair of red vertical pupils suddenly opened in the distant mountains. According to Yi Chuan's estimation, if he killed one more 9th level apprentice beast, or 4 or 5 8th level apprentice beasts, he should be able to break through to the entry level. But he advanced for several kilometers without encountering any ferocious beast. Logically speaking, as night has fallen, the ferocious beasts are active, so this situation is obviously abnormal. Yi Chuan clenched the dragon-slaying sword and became alert. He vaguely felt that he might have accidentally entered the territory of a powerful beast. Only this can explain why there are no ferocious beasts around. At this moment, the ground beneath Yi Chuan's feet suddenly shook violently, as if a dragon was turning over. A golden spider leg broke out of the ground and stabbed towards Yi Chuan. Yi Chuan chopped at it with his knife, but failed to cut it off. He just shook it apart, and a series of sparks appeared in the darkness. What a hard leg! Yi Chuan was a little surprised, and the next second, 8 scarlet eyes lit up. What appeared in front of Yi Chuan was a huge spider with a diameter of about 4 or 5 meters. Its 8 long legs were metallic and extremely sharp. The 3rd level beast, the golden-legged wolf spider. Yi Chuan's pupils suddenly shrank. No wonder he didn't see any ferocious beasts along the way. The golden-legged wolf spider is an omnivorous beast that not only eats humans but also other beasts. If Yi Chuan encountered this thing when he went out of the city for the first time, he would definitely turn around and run without hesitation. But now, a hint of murderous intent rose in Yi Chuan's eyes. If he killed this golden-legged wolf spider, he would be able to advance to the Dangtang realm 100%. To enter the realm of the hall is to enter the room. Only those who have entered the realm of entry can be said to have truly embarked on the path of cultivation. The golden-legged wolf spider was obviously extremely angry at the human who dared to intrude into its territory. It used its 4 hind legs to support its huge body, and its 4 front legs were like 4 spears, constantly poking towards Yi Chuan. The dragon-slaying sword and the spider leg collided with each other, creating a series of sparks. Yi Chuan knew very well that he had to dodge the spider's legs and attack the golden-legged wolf spider's body. The golden-legged wolf spider is not poisonous, and it relies on its 8 long, rock-hard legs to attack and hunt. He shook the spider's legs apart with force and rushed towards the golden-legged wolf spider. The golden-legged wolf spider also saw what Yi Chuan wanted to do. The ferocious beast in the Dengtang realm already had a certain level of intelligence. The golden-legged wolf spider instantly lowered its body, and its 2 front legs swept towards Yi Chuan like 2 sickles. Yi Chuan jumped up and avoided the attack. A sinister look appeared in the 8 small eyes of the golden-legged wolf spider, and then another spider leg stabbed towards Yi Chuan fiercely. Yi Chuan's face changed. At this moment, he was in midair and had nowhere to hide. He could only hold the butcher knife horizontally in front of him, relying on the sturdiness of the butcher knife and the flame-scale soft armor to withstand the blow. He was thrown out like a cannonball, and only stopped after crashing into several ancient trees. If it weren't for the pig nemesis who weakened the golden-legged wolf spider's attack, he would probably have broken several bones. This beast's strength is truly terrifying. Yi Chuan grimaced in pain. The 3rd-level golden-legged wolf spider was so difficult to deal with. He couldn't imagine how terrifying Lu Xing, who was at the 6th level, would be. Seeing the golden-legged wolf spider's legs stabbing at him again, Yi Chuan activated the nether shadow without hesitation. His body seemed to be covered with a layer of dark gauze, blending into the darkness and becoming a ghost in the night. His agility attribute was already as high as 50 points, and now with the 30% increase from nether shadow, he was so fast that it dazzled the golden-legged wolf spider. Before the golden-legged wolf spider locked onto Yi Chuan's flashing figure, Yi Chuan took the lead in attacking, and a terrifying murderous aura surged out. Blood Shadow Butcher is activated. Even though it was a realm higher than Yi Chuan, under the effect of the god-level skill of Blood Shadow Butcher, the golden-legged wolf spider still inevitably fell into a state of fear. 1 second passes in the blink of an eye. For Yi Chuan, who has activated the nether shadow, 1 second means that he can move forward 65 meters. The golden-legged wolf spider had just emerged from its state of fear when Yi Chuan arrived in front of it. Yi Chuan held the butcher knife in reverse and cut off the life with 1 stroke, cleanly and neatly. He had practiced this knife thousands of times in the slaughterhouse and had already become extremely proficient at it. The body of the golden-legged wolf spider was obviously not as hard as its legs. After a moment, the huge body of the golden-legged wolf spider fell to the ground, and its 8 legs drooped down weakly. The butcher Yi Chuan used the butcher knife to kill a special pig. The level increased by 15%, the additional damage of the pig nemesis increased by 1%, and the free attribute increased by 0.1 points. Obtain god-level skills. Soul-killing sword intent. After killing the golden-legged wolf spider, Yi Chuan finally succeeded in breaking through from the apprentice level to the master level. The breakthrough to a higher realm also allowed him to successfully unlock his 2nd professional specific skill. He couldn't wait to check his current attribute panel. Name: Yi Chuan. Profession: God-level pig butcher. Level: 1st stage 6.2%. Strength: 102. Agility: 102. Spirit: 102. Professional talents: Pig Nemesis, God-slaying blade. Professional skills: Blood Shadow Butcher LV2, Soul Slaying Blade LV2. Other skills: Nether Shadow Elementary. Pig Nemesis. Attacks cause an additional 1015% damage to pigs. Each time you kill a pig, the increase in this talent will be 1%, and the damage caused to you by pigs will be halved. God-slaying blade. Select a weapon as a butcher knife. Every pig that dies under the butcher knife will provide you with 0.1 free attributes. Blood Shadow Butcher. The butcher releases his own evil spirit, forcing the pigs into a state of fear for 2 seconds. Soul-slaying sword intent. The butcher's sword has its own sword intent. When the sword is swung, 20% of the pig's defense can be ignored. After breaking through to the Dengtang realm, Yi Chuan's 3-dimensional attributes doubled. The professional skills unlocked in the Dengtang realm also surprised him. Ignoring 20% of defense, isn't this a built-in armor-breaking effect? Professional specific skills will improve as the level of the job changer improves. For example, the Blood Shadow Butcher skill's control effect was extended from 1 second to 2 seconds after Yi Chuan broke through to the Dangtang realm. When his realm is higher, won't this soul-killing sword be able to ignore defense directly? Yi Chuan was a little excited. The gap in strength before and after the breakthrough was too great. If he were to fight the golden-legged wolf spider again, Yi Chuan was confident that he would only need one sword to kill it. Now, I am confident that I can deal with Lu Xing. There was a gleam of brilliance in Yi Chuan's eyes. He lit a bonfire, intending to rest for a while, fill his stomach, and then return to Qingcheng immediately. He killed Lu Xing's 3 men because he was afraid that if he didn't go back, Lu Xing would take revenge on his parents. Yi Chuan skillfully cut off one of the golden-legged wolf spider's legs and roasted it on the fire. The difference between this thing and king crab is that one lives in the sea and the other lives on land. Both contain high-quality protein when roasted. Just as Yi Chuan was concentrating on the barbecue, a woman with horns on her head and long thin ears walked up to his side with her slender and plump legs and squatted down with a smile. "Brother, your roast smells so good, can you give me some?" A chill ran along Yi Chuan's tailbone all the way up to the top of his head. His heart started beating uncontrollably, because he didn't even notice when this woman came to his side. This meant that this woman was either extremely good at hiding, or she was extremely powerful, far superior to him. "Of course you can, wait a minute, I'll sprinkle some seasoning on it." Yi Chuan grinned and pretended that he hadn't noticed anything. He took out the 3rd-grade Xuanian pill from his arms, crushed it into powder, sprinkled it on the spider's leg like cumin, and then handed the spider leg over. He was considerate enough to knock open the shell of the spider's leg, and while handing the spider's leg over, he also saw the woman's appearance clearly. Under a pig head with horns is a graceful figure, with burgundy stockings wrapped around her fair legs. From the curved horns, Yi Chuan guessed the woman's race. Demon clan. Succubus. "Thank you." The woman took the spider leg with a smile and began to eat it in small bites. While eating and chatting with Yi Chuan also learned from the woman that her name was Meritus. "By the way, little brother, have you seen a blood-red flower nearby?" "There are 2 flowers growing together," Meritus suddenly asked. "Blood-red flowers, blood crystal twin flowers?" "Yes," Yi Chuan nodded. "Oh, where are the flowers?" Meritus asked hopefully. "The flower was dug up by a hateful human named Lu Xing. He also killed the 2 cute little snakes guarding the blood crystal twin flowers. Do you want revenge? I can help you lead him out of the city." Yi Chuan bowed. "Do you think I'm a fool? Do you want to use me to help you deal with your enemies?" The corners of Merity's rosy mouth twitched slightly. "I advise you to tell the truth. My pet had memorized your appearance before it died. Otherwise, how do you think I found you?" "Oh, so you knew that. Why didn't you tell me earlier?" Yi Chuan smiled awkwardly and scratched his head in embarrassment. The next second, he started at 0 frame, swung the dragon-slaying sword and chopped down at Meritus's head. Swish! The sharp dragon-slaying sword pierced directly through Merity's body, making a series of sonic booms. Merity's figure swayed for a while, and then disappeared on the spot. Illusion. Yi Chuan's face changed. The textbooks said that the succubus race was extremely good at illusions, so he stared at Meritus's long legs from beginning to end and did not dare to look into her eyes. But even so, he still fell into the illusion without knowing it. "I'll ask you one last time, where are my blood crystal twin flowers?" Meritus's cold voice sounded, but Yi Chuan couldn't see where she was. "As long as you return the flower to me, this matter can be written off." As a succubus, the blood crystal twin flowers are extremely important to Meritus. The source of nutrition for their race is constant intercourse with other races, so staying young forever is extremely important for succubi. An old and ugly succubus is not far from death. "The flower is in the city. Let me go back and I will get it," Yi Chuan responded. "It seems that you are still not honest. It's okay, I will let you tell the truth." As soon as Meritus finished speaking, a puff of pink smoke came straight towards Yi Chuan. Even though Yi Chuan had already held his breath in advance, he still felt dizzy. Then everything went black in front of his eyes and he knew nothing. When he woke up again, Yi Chuan found himself chained and hung on a wooden rack. And Meritus was holding 2 thin iron skewers and looking at herself with a smile. "Are you awake? Do you know, I have a torture here called playing the violin. I will use these 2 iron sticks to pierce you and then pull them back and forth." The harder your mouth is, the faster I will play. After hearing the introduction of this torture, Yi Chuan's face turned pale instantly. At this moment, he even remembered the answers to the security questions he had set when he was 8 years old. I'll tell you. My father's name is Hu Yingjun, my mother's name is Zhang Meili, and I live in room 1001, Fando Garden, Fando Street. What do you want to know? I'll tell you everything. Really? Then where did my blood crystal twin flowers go? Meredith asked while pinching Yi Chuan's chin. It was taken away by the Shah family and should have been eaten by someone now. Yi Chuan said truthfully. Meredith's face changed instantly. Even though she knew that her blood crystal twin flowers might not come back, she was still furious at the moment of confirmation. In that case, I will take the flowers you gave me as my burial object. Meredith held the iron skewer in her hand and stabbed Yi Chuan directly. Your mother. Yi Chuan's face changed drastically. He struggled hard, and with the help of his strength of over 100, he instantly broke the chain on his hand. He fell down, and the iron stick in Meredith's hand also pierced the wooden shelf. You can actually break free from these chains. Meredith was a little surprised. How could a mere first-level Ascension realm possess such great power? But even though Yi Chuan was incredibly powerful, he was still no match for her. Just as Meredith was about to continue, she suddenly felt a burning sensation inside her body, as if a strange force was running through her body. She felt that her body was somewhat weak and could not help but stagger a few times. It finally worked. Yi Chuan breathed a sigh of relief. He almost thought that the Xuanian pill was fake. After this stuff is crushed into powder, it takes too long to take effect. What did you do to me? Meredith asked in a panic. I gave you something delicious to eat. How is it? Do you feel particularly hot now? Do you particularly need a strong man? Yi Chuan gave Meredith a kind smile. It's the spider leg. You drugged me. Meredith quickly realized what was going on, and she tried hard to stand up straight. But she was a succubus, with a lot of yin energy in her body, and with the effect of the Xuanian pill taking effect, the scene in front of her eyes became a little blurry. Meredith huddled in the corner with her legs tucked together, apparently trying hard to resist the effects of the drug. At this moment, she caught a glimpse out of the corner of her eye and saw Yi Chuan striding towards her. Meredith bit her red lips. She was not a child. She had already guessed what Yi Chuan was going to do to her, which was nothing more than hatred. Well, it won't be too late to use this human boy to eliminate the effect of the medicine and then kill him. Meredith simply stopped resisting. Her cheeks flushed, and she looked at Yi Chuan with a dazed look. Come here. I want you, Meredith said sweetly. In this state, experienced drivers know that the hair is extremely hot. Coupled with Meredith's delicate alien face, I'm afraid no man can resist Meredith at this time, and his most primitive animal nature will definitely be aroused. Yi Chuan was no exception. His eyes instantly became extremely hot and he pounced towards Meredith like a hungry tiger pouncing on its prey. Meredith even took the initiative to tear off her clothes, completely immersed in the ocean of lust. But at this moment, a ray of white light made Meredith wake up instantly. Because when Yi Chuan flew over, what he took out was not the old Beijing chicken roll, but a shiny butcher knife. Swish! The extremely sharp blade flashed by. Yi Chuan slashed out with his sword without hesitation. With the help of the soul-killing sword intent, he was sure that this sword could chop off Meredith's head. After all, although the succubus's body is very resistant in bed, once it gets out of bed, the succubus's body is much more fragile than many other demons. Meredith screamed and dodged to the side with all her strength. But even so, Yi Chuan's butcher knife still left a bloody mark on her face deep enough to see the bone. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. Meredith stared at Yi Chuan with resentment in her vertical pupils. The severe pain on her face and the effect of the Xuanian pill in her body continued to affect her. Seeing that this sneak attack failed to kill Meredith, Yi Chuan was a little disappointed. But he knew very well that he could not continue to tangle with Meredith, as this woman's strength was too terrifying. He had to escape quickly before the effect of the Xuanian pill in her body was resolved. Otherwise, when Meredith recovered, she would definitely catch him and make him play the violin. Yi Chuan put on his bag, activated Nether Shadow and rushed out directly. The place where he is now is obviously the lair of Meredith. While running outside, Yi Chuan came across many emaciated mummies. There are humans, orcs, and even a large group of goblins. There is no doubt that these mummies must be the traces left after Meritus ate, as succubus feed on essence. Yi Chuan rushed out, and then he found that he had been captured by Meritus and taken to a mountain. Zhao, where are you going? Yi Chuan was dumbfounded. There were endless towering ancient trees in all directions, and no reference points were visible. If he chose the wrong direction and went in the opposite direction of Qingcheng, he would be doomed. As a person at the first stage of the Ascension realm, if he went too deep into the wild, the consequence would definitely be that he would be swallowed by a powerful beast. But if he continued to stay here, he would be doomed by the time Meritus recovered. It seems that I have no choice but to use my trump card. Yi Chuan's eyes were firm. Throw a knife to ask for directions. Yi Chuan threw the butcher knife into the sky, and when the knife fell to the ground, he rushed in the direction of the tip of the knife. Now he can only leave everything to luck. Yi Chuan plunged into the dense jungle. But as if it weren't bad enough, luck didn't seem to be on Yi Chuan's side. He had just run for a short while when a ferocious beast emerged and roared angrily at him. The giant beast was nearly 5 meters tall, its hair was like burning flames, and its entire body was filled with explosive muscles. Ninth order beast at the ascending stage. Wind and fire ape. Yi Chuan's face looked extremely ugly. Encountering such a giant beast while escaping was tantamount to a death sentence for him. Fengwo Liyuan roared and slapped Yi Chuan. At this time Yi Chuan also discovered something wrong, because the speed of this wind and fire ape was unreasonably slow. No, this guy is seriously injured. Yi Chuan's eyes focused, and he soon discovered that although Fengwo Liyuan had no external injuries on his body, there were many dents on it, as if it had suffered a heavy blow with blunt force. With Yi Chuan's current strength, it is naturally impossible for him to be a match for the Fengwo Liyuan in its prime. But a Fengwo Liyuan that was seriously injured and dying and whose strength was only 1/10 of what it was a different matter. Yi Chuan acted decisively and activated Nether Shadow to increase his speed, directly dodging Fengwo Liyuan's angry attack. Then he jumped up and came in front of Fengwo Liyuan. Blood Shadow Butcher. Yi Chuan directly released his skills, forcing the 9th level Ascension realm into a state of fear for 2 seconds. He swung the butcher knife in his hand and slashed directly. With the armor-piercing power of the soul-slaying knife, the wind and fire ape could not resist Yi Chuan's knife at all. The butcher Yi Chuan used the butcher knife to kill a special pig. The level increased by 12%, the additional damage of the pig nemesis increased by 1%, and the free attribute increased by 0.1 points. Seeing Fengwo Liyuan's body fall heavily to the ground, Yi Chuan breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, this Fengwo Liyuan was seriously injured, otherwise he would be in big trouble. You actually managed to kill this wind and fire ape. Behind the woods, a man in his 40s came out carrying a sledgehammer. He was nearly 1.9 meters tall, and his tiger eyes were looking at Yi Chuan curiously. He could tell at a glance that Yi Chuan in front of him was only at the first ascending stage. Even though Fengwo Liyuan was seriously injured, he should not be able to be dealt with by a first ascending stage cultivator. Yi Chuan's eyes narrowed and he took a few steps back vigilantly. He didn't think that he would be safe just by meeting humans. Moreover, the realm of the man opposite must be much higher than his. Yi Chuan felt an extremely dangerous aura from him. Uncle Qian, what's going on? A young girl carrying a guqin on her back walked out slowly. She was wearing a white dress, with elegant curves, but her face was a little naive. These two completely different temperaments and cute, actually appear in the same woman. Miss Zhang, the Fengwo Liyuan who just escaped from us was killed by this kid. Qian Ligong walked up to the body of Fengwo Liyuan and marveled at it. One cut to the throat. Wow, your knife skills are really accurate. Zhang Xian looked at Yi Chuan with her beautiful eyes, with a hint of curiosity in them. Thank you very much for your help, my friend. What's your name? My name is Yi Chuan. You don't have to thank me. Can you tell me which direction Qingcheng is? Yi Chuan asked. Are you from Qingcheng? Then why don't you come with us? We are going back to Qingcheng, and we can take care of each other on the way. By the way, we are from the Judean Alliance. Zhang Xian said with a smile. 9 Heavens Alliance. Yi Chuan was a little surprised. One of the two alliances, Sheng and Sha, was the Judean Alliance. This is the top force in Qingcheng, no weaker than the Sha family. In that case, I will respectfully obey your command. Yi Chuan agreed immediately with a kind smile on his face. Although Yi Chuan didn't know the specific strength of Meritus, if that guy chased him, even if the people of the Judean Alliance couldn't resist him, they should be able to buy him some time to escape. Okay, then once we've dealt with this wind and fire ape, we'll set off back. Zhang Xian nodded. She had already started to want to recruit Yi Chuan. This man is so young, yet he dares to go deep into such a place alone. If he can be recruited into the Judean Alliance, he will definitely become the backbone of the Judean Alliance in time. At this time, Qian Ligong and 3 other people jumped onto Fengwo Liyuan, and they were busy. Are you going to skin them? Yi Chuan couldn't help but ask after watching for a while. Yes, Zhang Xian replied, the skin of the wind and fire ape is extremely special. With a little bit of refinement, it can be immune to the high temperature burns of flames. How about I come? Yi Chuan was getting a little anxious as he waited. Although Qian Ligong and the others were stronger than him, their skinning speed was really shockingly slow. If this goes on any longer, Meritus will probably catch up with us soon. Can you? The skin of Fengwo Liyuan must be peeled off completely. Zhang Xian explained. Don't worry, it's covered. Yi Chuan walked over with a butcher knife. For him, a god-level butcher, skinning a pig is as easy as eating and drinking. Yi Chuan jumped up and landed on Fengwo Liyuan, taking Qian Ligong's place. Then the butcher knife in his hand began to fly, and each knife accurately cut off the connection between Fengwo Liyuan's skin and muscle fibers. The smooth movements look pleasing to the eye, like an art exhibition. Qian Ligong, Zhang Xian and others even subconsciously held their breath, fearing that their breathing would disturb Yi Chuan. 10 minutes later, a complete animal skin appeared in Yi Chuan's hands. There was no blood stain on it, as if it had fallen off naturally. Hiss. Qian Ligong took a breath of cold air. Brother Yi Chuan, your skinning skills are amazing. Did you learn it specially? It is not difficult to peel off the skin of Fengwo Liyuan, but it is extremely difficult to peel it so quickly and keep it so intact. At least Qian Ligong thinks he can't do it. I learned a little from my dad. Yi Chuan handed the animal skin to Qian Ligong. Ask your dad to teach me when you have time. This move is really cool. Qian Ligong patted Yi Chuan's shoulder vigorously. In a short period of time, Yi Chuan has given him 2 surprises. Okay, Uncle Qian, now that we have obtained the skin of Fengwo Liyuan, let's return. Zhang Xian said. Qian Ligong grinned. We have finally collected all the materials. Everything is ready. We will definitely be able to enter Burning Sky Valley this time. I hope so. Zhang Xian nodded. The sudden appearance of the Fiery Blade King inheritance in Burning Sky Valley will definitely attract many strong people. Even if you go in, you may not gain anything. Yi Chuan listened quietly to the 2 people chatting, but had no intention of interrupting, which made Zhang Xian feel a little anxious. She originally wanted to tell Yi Chuan about the Burning Sky Valley to arouse his interest and win him over to join the 9 Heavens Alliance, but Yi Chuan didn't react at all. Could this guy be a blockhead? Seeing this, Zhang Xian had no choice but to get straight to the point and ask directly. Yi Chuan, are you not interested in the inheritance of the Fiery Blade King? Yi Chuan's eyes were very clear and he blinked. Who is the Fiery Blade King? Zhang Xian. After a moment of silence, Zhang Xian began to explain for Yi Chuan. The realms of job changers are divided into the Apprentice Realm, the Entry Realm, the Master Realm, and the Grandmaster Realm. Each realm is further divided into 9 small levels. If you break through the 9th level of the Grandmaster Realm, you can be crowned as a king. The Fiery Blade King is a powerful person who has been crowned as a king. Yi Chuan suddenly realized. So that's what happened. No one had ever told him about these things. After all, under normal circumstances, a butcher may not be able to break through to the Dingtang realm even if he kills pigs for his entire life. Would you like to take me with you? Yi Chuan asked. Of course, as long as you join the Judean Alliance. Seeing that Yi Chuan was interested, Zhang Xian went with the flow and said. I'll think about it. Yi Chuan did not agree immediately. Firstly, he has not yet escaped from Meritus's pursuit. Secondly, after joining the Judean Alliance, even if he can really seize the inheritance of a powerful king-level warrior, it will most likely not fall into Yi Chuan's hands. After all, looking at the entire Qingcheng, it is estimated that there are not many masters, let alone the king level. To put it bluntly, Zhang Xian was painting a rosy picture for him. Okay, once you've thought it through, you can come directly to the Judean Alliance to find me, or find Uncle Qian. Zhang Xian didn't rush into it, since the olive branch had already been extended. The group started their return journey. With Zhang Xian and the others traveling with them, Yi Chuan had no chance to take action at all. Qian Ligong walked at the front carrying a sledgehammer. Any ferocious beast that dared to appear in front of their team would be either scared away or have its brains burst by a single blow from Qian Ligong. Yi Chuan guessed that Qian Ligong might have already reached the master level. When they walked out of the mountain, they were overwhelmed by a terrifying murderous aura. Yi Chuan thought that it was the succubus of Meritus who was chasing him, and was about to run away. But he soon discovered that the source of the murderous aura was not aliens, but humans. A man in gray with a kind smile on his face brought a group of people to surround Yi Chuan and his group. These people were all wearing the same uniform, with a lifelike lion with thunder embroidered on their chest. Qian Ligong, I heard that your Judean Alliance not only got the glazed fire lamp, but also successfully hunted down a wind and fire ape. The gray-clothed man in the lead asked with a smile. Looking at the people from the Thunder Lion Alliance who suddenly appeared in front of him, Qian Ligong's face looked a little ugly. The Thunder Lion Alliance is also the top force in Qingcheng, and is hostile to their Judean Alliance. The other party was able to find them so accurately and know what they had obtained, which could only mean that there was a traitor in their team. Qian Ligong first looked at Yi Chuan, but he soon realized that it was not the case. Not to mention that Yi Chuan met them by chance, the glazed fire lamp was also obtained by them before they met Yi Chuan, so Yi Chuan could not have known about it. You dare to betray the Judean Alliance? Qian Ligong looked at the other three people in the team. One of the long-haired men took the initiative to distance himself from Yi Chuan and the others. Boss Qian, the people from the Thunder Lion Alliance said that if I pass the message to them, they will give me a yellow-grade high-quality spiritual weapon and a bundle of high-level skill scrolls. If you don't work for yourself, you will be punished by heaven and earth. Zhang Yan, aren't you afraid that you might as well take your life and not be able to use it? Qian Ligong stared at the traitor in the team. HMPH, you should worry about yourself. Zhang Yan sneered. You're looking for death. Qian Ligong shouted in a deep voice, then swung the sledgehammer towards Zhang Yan. Zhang Yan's face turned pale. He was only at the 9th level, while Qian Ligong was already at the 1st level, so if he was hit by Qian Ligong's hammer, he would surely die. Master Lei Gang, save me. Zhang Yan asked for help from the Lei Shi Alliance. Just as Qian Ligong's sledgehammer was about to fall, Lei Gang stretched out his right hand and hit Qian Ligong's sledgehammer directly. A flash of lightning actually pushed Qian Ligong back several steps. You have broken through to the 2nd level Master Realm. Qian Ligong's face changed drastically. What, are you scared? Then hand over the glazed fire lamp and the skin of the wind and fire ape. This way everyone can look more respectable. Lei Gang advised with a sneer. You are so shameless to me. Do you think I will be afraid of you just because you are one level higher than me? Qian Ligong roared angrily and smashed Lei Gang hard with the sledgehammer in his hand. His momentum was like a rainbow, as if one man could block the passage of 10,000. Li Nan, Su Wengxin, you two, take Miss Zhang and brother Yi Chuan away quickly, don't worry about me. After saying that, Qian Ligong attacked the people of the Thunder Lion Alliance with a hammer, forcing them to retreat again and again. Humph, leave, none of you from the Nine Heavens Alliance can leave today. Thunderous. Lei Gang's eyes narrowed, and violent thunder power gushed out from his hands, attacking Qian Ligong directly. Facing Lei Gang's attack, Qian Ligong had to deal with it carefully, as his realm was originally lower than Lei Gang's. Without Qian Ligong's obstruction, the dozen or so people from the Thunder Lion Alliance immediately chased after Yi Chuan and the others. All of these people were at the Dengtang realm, and several of them were even at the peak of the 9th level of the Dengtang realm. We can't leave now, let's meet the enemy. Zhang Xian's delicate face was covered with frost, and then she took off the guqin from her back. Yi Chuan was also speechless at this time. He went with Zhang Xian and the others, intending to ask them to help deal with Meritus's pursuit. How come after all this time, he ended up helping Zhang Xian and the others deal with the Thunder Lion Alliance's pursuit? This time he lost a lot. Chapter 31. 10 white jade fingers fell on the translucent strings. Zhang Xian's jade fingers flicked the piano, and a melodious sound like the sound of nature rang out, like the gurgling of a spring in the mountains, beautiful and pleasant to hear. But hidden beneath this heavenly sound is an indescribable murderous intent. Every time Zhang Xian stroked the piano, dozens of sound waves would materialize, like sharp blades, slashing towards the people of the Thunder Lion Alliance. One of the members of the Thunder Lion Alliance was unable to dodge, and a blood scar deep enough to see the bone immediately appeared on his chest. Stop her. Don't let her play anymore. Several people in the Thunder Lion Alliance who were good at long-range attacks immediately took action, and various spell attacks such as fireballs, ice, vines, etc. came down on Zhang Xian. Li Nan and Su Wengxin protected Zhang Xian behind them, resisting the fierce bombardment of the Thunder Lion Alliance. Yi Chuan had already used Nether Shadow to distance himself from the crowd, and his eyes were always fixed on the battlefield between Lei Gang and Qian Ligang. Yi Chuan knew very well that Zhang Xian and his men were just making a small move, and only Lei Gang and Qian Ligang, the two masters, could truly decide the success or failure of this battle. Only by helping Qian Ligang defeat Lei Gang can we truly break the deadlock. Seeing that Yi Chuan not only did not help fight the enemy, but instead ran off to the side to hang out, Li Nan and Su Wengxin suddenly became a little angry. They were fighting desperately here, but Yi Chuan ran to the side to watch the show. Yi Chuan, what are you doing? Help me. Su Wengxin stamped her feet anxiously. The dark red leather armor only covered her chest but did not hide her proud waistline. She is very wild, and when she is angry, she is like a female leopard. Forget it, Wengxin. He is not a member of my Judian alliance. What's more, he is only at the first level of the Dengtang realm. Asking him to interfere in the battle here is really making things difficult for him. Zhang Xian shook her head and said. Although Su Wengxin and Li Nan were somewhat dissatisfied, since Zhang Xian had spoken, they could only give up. At this time, the battle between Qian Ligang and Lei Gang had entered a white-hot stage, and Qian Ligang was clearly at a disadvantage. Every blow from Lei Gang's thunderous attack would make Qian Ligang feel a little numb. As one thing gained strength while the other lost strength, Qian Ligang's muscles became more and more sore and numb, and his movements became slower and slower. If this continues, Qian Ligang will definitely fail. Qian Ligang himself was well aware of this. A hint of ruthlessness flashed in his eyes, and he gripped his sledgehammer tightly. Mountain-splitting hammer. Qian Ligang swung the sledgehammer in his hand fiercely, with a force that could split mountains and crack rocks. Even if there was a towering mountain in front of him, it would be smashed apart by Qian Ligang's hammer. It was obvious that Qian Ligang intended to decide the outcome with one strike and did not want to drag it on with Lei Gang any longer. Finally, I was fooled, but when Lei Gang saw this, he was not panicked at all. Instead, he showed a smile as if his plan had succeeded. Qian Ligang, I'm just waiting for you to fall into my trap. Thunder grid. Lei Gang roared angrily, and countless lightning bolts spread out like spirit snakes, forming a large net woven together by lightning. The crackling sound of the electric current pierced people's eardrums. Qian Ligang's face changed drastically. He didn't know if this hammer could defeat Lei Gang, but he was very clear about one thing: if he was hit by Lei Gang's move, he would definitely be seriously injured. But at this point, he has no way out and can only charge forward, hoping that he and Lei Gang will both suffer losses. At this critical moment, an indescribable and terrifying murderous aura seemed to condense into substance and rushed directly towards Lei Gang. God-level skill, Blood Shadow Butcher. Yi Chuan took action. Under the impact of this terrifying evil spirit, even though Lei Gang was at the second level of the Grandmaster realm, he inevitably fell into a state of fear. Yi Chuan knew very well that the only skill he had that could threaten Lei Gang was the Blood Shadow Butcher's control, so he had been waiting for an opportunity. Lei Gang fell into a state of fear, and the thunder grid collapsed on its own. Although Qian Ligang hasn't figured out what happened, as a veteran, he will naturally not miss such a good opportunity. Seeing that Lei Gang's goal was wide open, Qian Ligang hit him directly in the chest with a hammer. Puff! Lei Gang vomited blood on the spot, and flew out like a kite with a broken string. If you look closely, you will find that his chest has collapsed due to Qian Ligang's hammer. Oh no! The faces of the people from the Thunder Lion Alliance who were originally besieging Zhang Xian suddenly changed drastically. If Lei Gang were gone, Qian Ligang would be hitting them like playing whack-a-mole, killing them one by one with one hammer. They didn't bother to continue besieging Zhang Xian and the other two, and rushed directly towards Lei Gang. My lord, are you all right? Someone helped Lei Gang up and quickly fed him healing pills. It's you. Lei Gang sat up and stared at Yi Chuan. You are obviously only at the first level of the ascending realm, so why can your skills affect me? Are you a legendary combat professional? This is impossible. In the past few years, Qingcheng has only produced one legendary combat professional, and she is a woman. Lei Gang's eyes were filled with confusion and shock. You know, there was a huge gap between the two of them. Only the skills of legendary professions could affect him across a large realm. Because the exclusive skills of a profession are linked to the profession level, a legendary combat profession means that all exclusive skills are also legendary. What gives you the right to define my gender? Yi Chuan asked back. Lei Gang was stunned at first, then spat out blood again. Zhang Xian looked at Yi Chuan with a glittering look in her beautiful eyes. Yi Chuan gave her so many surprises. What surprises does this boy, who looks younger than her, have that she doesn't know about? Withdraw, Lei Gang shouted unwillingly. Now he had been severely injured. If he continued to fight, at most both he and the people of the Judean Alliance would suffer losses. Qian Ligong and the others understood this truth very well. Even though Lei Gang had been seriously injured, he was still a second-level master after all. A lean camel is bigger than a horse, so they had no plans to chase after the people from the Lei Shi Alliance. The people of the Thunder Lion Alliance came and went quickly. Zhan Yan, a traitor of the Nine Heavens Alliance, mixed into the Thunder Lion Alliance team and wanted to leave together, but Qian Ligong rushed directly towards him. They can leave, but you, a dog, can't. Qian Ligong roared angrily. They and the Lei Shi Alliance were already in a hostile relationship, so it was normal for the other side to deal with them. But Zhan Yan, this beast, as his teammate, stabbed him in the back, which made Qian Ligong unbearable. If it weren't for Yi Chuan, they would be in danger this time, and they might all die here. Brother Qian, please spare me. I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. I just got married and my wife is already pregnant. Please forgive me. Seeing that he couldn't escape, Zhan Yan fell to his knees and burst into tears. If he had known that the people of the Thunder Lion Alliance could not kill Qian Ligong, he would never have dared to betray him. Don't worry, I will take good care of your wife just because you called me brother. I will make sure I squeeze some shampoo for your child every night. Bang! With one blow of the hammer, Zhan Yan's head exploded like a ripe watermelon. Qian Ligong showed no mercy to this traitor. If Zhan Yan can betray them once for profit, he can betray them a second and third time. Such a person must not be allowed to stay. After dealing with the traitor Zhan Yan, Qian Ligong walked towards Yi Chuan with fiery eyes and gave Yi Chuan a big hug. Ha 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 ha, brother Yi Chuan, this time it's all thanks to you. When we get back to Qingcheng, I'll treat you to a foot wash. A 98-inch foot wash. If you need anything in Qingcheng in the future, just let me know and I'll be there. Qian Ligong knew very well that if it weren't for Yi Chuan's crucial control skill, it would not be Lei Gang who was seriously injured, but him. Uncle Qian, if you want to wash your feet, go wash them yourself and stop leading Yi Chuan astray. Zhang Xian rolled her eyes at Qian Ligong in anger. What kind of lewd words is this guy saying? The two girls are still here. Oh, that's wrong. The sign of a boy turning into a man is his calmness when putting on the cards. Qian Ligong said with a smile. Su Wengxin walked forward, stretched out her arms carelessly and clamped Yi Chuan's neck. Yi Chuan immediately felt a heavy feeling of suffocation. I'm sorry, Yi Chuan. I was too impulsive just now and wrongly blamed you. I thought you were watching the show on purpose. I owe you a favor. Don't take it to heart. Su Wengxin said a little embarrassedly. Not only do you owe Yi Chuan a favor, we all owe him a favor, and it's the favor of saving our lives. Zhang Xian said. Several people nodded in agreement. If it weren't for Yi Chuan, they would have been in danger just now. Brother Yi Chuan, excuse me, what is the level of your profession? Li Nan couldn't help but ask. God level. Yi Chuan, who was still held under Su Wengxin's arm, answered truthfully. Several people present gasped instantly. This level of profession is the top batch of super geniuses even if you look at the 9 special zones of the entire human race. That's not right. Aren't you from Qingcheng? There is a god-level profession in Qingcheng, and it is impossible for my Judean Alliance not to receive the news. Zhang Xian asked doubtfully. Miss, we actually received the news. Combined with brother Yi Chuan's knife, haven't you thought of anything yet? Qian Ligong couldn't help but coughed twice to remind her. God level, sword. The doubt in Zhang Xian's beautiful eyes turned into astonishment. Are you the God level pig butcher? Li Nan and Su Wengxin's expressions also turned strange. Good news. God level profession. Bad news. He's a butcher. But can't a butcher only kill pigs? How come Yi Chuan, a butcher, could chop Fengwo Liuan into pieces with one knife? However, they were all tactful enough not to ask any further questions. Everyone has their own secrets, and digging into them would be too immature. Let's rest here for a while. If we run around now, we'll be ambushed by the Thunder Lion Alliance again. I've already sent out a signal for help. People from the Nine Heavens Alliance will be here to pick us up soon. Qian Ligong changed the subject. Several people also expressed their agreement. Li Nan and Su Wengxin took the initiative to assume the task of guarding the surroundings to prevent any ferocious beasts from suddenly attacking them. Yi Chuan was getting a little bored waiting, so he took the initiative to walk towards Zhang Xian and said, Miss Zhang, can you use the sonic attack you just used on the people from the Thunder Lion Alliance on me? Just call me Xian. Do you want to use intensive sonic attacks to hone your physical skills? Zhang Xian saw through Yi Chuan's purpose. Yes. Yi Chuan nodded. Netherworld Glimpse was a skill he learned using a skill scroll. It could not be improved as his realm rose, and his proficiency could only be increased through continuous practice. Sonic attacks are dense and fast, and are perfect for training physical skills. Are you sure? My level is much higher than yours. If you are not careful, you might get hurt. Zhang Xian asked with some concern. Sure, Yi Chuan said. Well, be careful. I will slowly increase the speed. Don't try to be brave. Seeing Yi Chuan's insistence, Zhang Xian took off the guqin. The guqin she had been carrying on her back was obviously also an extraordinary spiritual weapon, exuding an ancient and mysterious atmosphere. As Zhang Xian began to play the piano, pleasant and melodious sounds continued to be heard, and the sound waves condensed into a sharp blade, slashing towards Yi Chuan. Yi Chuan dodged it easily with a quick move. Xian, can you be faster? Zhang Xian nodded, and when she attacked again, the blade changed from 1 to 3. Faster, 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 faster. Zhang Xian's piano playing became more and more rapid, and the number of sonic blades had exceeded 20. If an ordinary person at the first stage of the Dengtang realm faced an attack of this level, he would have been seriously injured or even killed long ago. But Yi Chuan strolled leisurely, as if those sonic blades posed no danger to him at all. There was a strange light in Zhang Xian's beautiful eyes. Qian Ligong, Su Wengxin and Li Nan also looked at Yi Chuan in surprise. You can go faster. I'm fine, Yi Chuan urged. Zhang Xian nodded and increased the number of sonic blades again. Clang. The strings vibrated, and 25 sonic blades cut towards Yi Chuan. A glimpse of the netherworld. Seeing this, Yi Chuan's eyes narrowed, and he immediately used the nether shadow skill. With his speed increased rapidly, he was able to dodge Zhang Xian's attacks at extremely tricky angles every time. Zhang Xian and the others were dumbfounded. It turned out that after all this time, Yi Chuan hadn't used any body movement skills at all. Zhang Xian also understood that she couldn't look at Yi Chuan with common sense. She took a deep breath, and this time, she did not hold back and directly used 70% of her strength. Along with the tinkling sound of flowing water, dozens of sound waves kept slashing towards Yi Chuan. Under this high-intensity pressure, his proficiency in nether shadow became higher and higher. As time passed, the sweet sweat had soaked Zhang Xian's bangs, but Yi Chuan still had no intention of stopping to rest. At this time, Yi Chuan's body was covered with several bloody scars. If it weren't for the protection of the flame-scale soft armor, he would probably be injured even more seriously. But he still had no intention of stopping to rest. Instead, he took the initiative to approach Zhang Xian. The closer he gets to Zhang Xian, the shorter the distance he has to react and dodge. Yi Chuan took the initiative to put himself in a dangerous situation, but Zhang Xian soon discovered that although Yi Chuan was getting closer and closer to her, his speed was getting faster and faster. There was even an afterimage. As a residual image emerged, Yi Chuan directly escaped from her attack range and stood behind her. Thank you very much. Yi Chuan bowed to Zhang Xian to express his gratitude. Under the pressure brought to him by Zhang Xian, his control over nether shadow has reached the highest level. Glimpses of the netherworld great mastery. After being activated, it increases your own agility attribute by 40% and lasts for 1 minute. When moving quickly, you can leave a series of afterimages on the spot to confuse the opponent. Not only did the improvement increase by 10%, the duration also doubled, and there was an additional afterimage effect, which was obviously a significant improvement to Yi Chuan's strength. Zhang Xian wiped the sweat from her forehead. You are such a freak, it's too tiring to be your sparring partner. Yi Chuan was about to say thank you, but he suddenly realized something, turned his head to look behind Zhang Xian, and smiled awkwardly. Well, don't worry, more tiring things are coming. More tired is coming. What does that mean? Zhang Xian was a little confused. She followed Yi Chuan's gaze and turned to look back. A tall woman with horns on her head slowly walked towards this side. The murderous intent on her body was so strong that it almost solidified into substance. A scar deep enough to see the bone extended from the corner of her eye to her jaw, with blood oozing out from time to time. Succubus. Zhang Xian's expression changed slightly, and Qian Ligong also picked up the sledgehammer and stared at Meritus vigilantly. My target is him, get out of here. Otherwise I will kill you too. Meritus pointed at Yi Chuan, her pupils filled with scarlet murderous intent. Oh, you are so arrogant, why don't you kill one for me? Qian Ligong snorted coldly and stood directly in front of Yi Chuan. Li Nan and Su Wengxin were also ready for the battle, and it was obvious that neither of them had the intention of handing Yi Chuan over. In that case, you will die with him. Meritus waved her 10 fingers, and a pink light started from her and enveloped Yi Chuan and the other 4. This succubus is at least a 5th-level master. Brother Yi Chuan, how did you provoke this monster? Run, run. Qian Ligong was startled and smashed the ground with his hammer, causing an earthquake and thunder, which made Meritus lose her balance. She then quickly ran away with the other 4. Although Yi Chuan's realm is the lowest among the 5, thanks to his exaggerated 3-dimensional attributes, his speed is even showing a tendency to catch up with Qian Ligong, who is at the master level. Yi Chuan, how did you provoke this succubus? Su Wengxin asked. I accidentally dug out her blood crystal twin flowers. She wanted to kill me, so I stabbed her. Yi Chuan recounted the entire incident as briefly as possible. Qian Ligong frowned after hearing this. Succubi are extremely concerned about their appearance. You dug up the flower that can keep her youthful, and then destroyed her face. This is already a situation where there is no end in sight. How about we go separately? That succubus's target is me, so it won't make things difficult for you. Yi Chuan suddenly advised. Who do you think we are? Zhang Xian rolled her eyes. You just saved us, and we still owe you a favor. If we abandon you and run away now, wouldn't we be ungrateful? Miss Zhang is right, Brother Yi Chuan, you don't have to worry. As long as we delay a little longer, support from our Judean alliance should be here. Qian Ligong nodded. Hearing what the two said, Yi Chuan was a little disappointed. He also thought that if Zhang Xian and the others wanted to sell him out, he would just activate the fully powered Netherworld Shadow and run away. He didn't need to run faster than Meritus, he just had to run faster than Qian Ligong and the others. But I didn't expect that Zhang Xian and the others were so loyal. Uncle Qian, if I can make that succubus freeze like Lei Gang just now, are you sure you can kill her? Yi Chuan asked. Qian Ligong's eyes lit up when he heard this. How long can you keep her frozen? 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Qian Ligong looked thoughtful. You can try. It's probably impossible to kill this succubus, but you should be able to buy time to escape. After all, succubus are good at illusions, and their physical strength is average. Okay, then wait until that succubus catches up and then we'll take action. Yi Chuan said calmly. The group of 5 continued to run away, and the murderous Meritus followed closely behind them, getting closer and closer to them. Get started. Just when Meritus was about to catch up with Li Nan at the back, Yi Chuan shouted and stopped immediately. Blood Shadow Butcher. The astonishing murderous aura condensed into substance and rushed directly towards Meritus. Meritus paused, and then, in a state of fear, she rushed forward due to inertia. Good opportunity. Mountain-breaking hammer. Qian Ligong seized the opportunity, swung the sledgehammer, and hit Meritus directly like hitting a baseball. This blow might not cause fatal damage to Meritus, but it was enough to knock her hundreds of meters away, buying them time to escape. Bang! The fact was just as Qian Ligong expected, Meritus was directly knocked away. But at this moment, Qian Ligong was surprised to find that Yi Chuan had appeared on the path that Meritus had to take when she flew out. and only the afterimage of Yi Chuan beside him remained. Brother Yi Chuan, what are you doing? Come back, don't seek death. That is a succubus at the 5th order master level. Qian Ligong shouted anxiously. Yi Chuan didn't say anything, but a fierce look flashed in his eyes. If he didn't get rid of this succubus, he was afraid that he would never be able to leave the city. The soul-slaying sword intention was concentrated on the dragon-slaying sword. With the 20% armor-breaking effect, and with the power of Qian Ligong's hammer, Yi Chuan fiercely stabbed the sword into Merity's back. Purple blood splattered, dyeing Yi Chuan's face purple. Meritus, who had escaped from her state of fear, let out a shrill scream, her eyes filled with anger and a hint of barely detectable fear. I will skin and bone all of you. Dreamland. Pink smoke spread. This is the illusion that the succubus are best at constructing. People who are enveloped by this illusion may even be deeply trapped in it and never wake up. Oh no, this succubus is going to fight to the death. Brother Yi Chuan, run. Stay away from that succubus. Qian Ligong urged anxiously. After being enveloped by the pink smoke, Yi Chuan's eyes did appear a little empty, but the next second, he bit the tip of his tongue hard, and blood oozed from the corners of his lips. The intense pain allowed Yi Chuan to maintain the last bit of clarity in the illusion. He held the butcher knife tightly and started spinning it inside Merity's body. Meritus screamed miserably. As a succubus, she couldn't use many tricks when the enemy got close to her. After all, succubus were not good at close combat under the bed. She could only try harder to release the illusion and pull Yi Chuan's consciousness into it. Yi Chuan used a butcher knife to stir Meritus's internal organs, trying to end the life of this succubus. The man and the succubus were directly stuck in a stalemate. Qian Ligong and the others saw what was happening and were anxious, but they had no way to help. Yi Chuan and Meritus were stuck together so closely that long-range attacks could easily cause accidental injuries. If they get close, they will first be deprived of their minds by Meritus's illusion. In this stalemate, Meritus was the first to be unable to bear it. If this continued, she would bleed to death. Meritus turned her head hard, and her neck twisted nearly 180 degrees with a snap, and she and Yi Chuan looked at each other face to face at a close distance. The art of fascination. At this moment, Merity's eyes turned into two pink heart-shaped peaches, exuding a strange charm. This is the innate skill of the succubus clan, which can arouse the most primitive desires in the hearts of the opposite gender to the greatest extent. Even a strong person with a high level of realm would find it difficult to resist this move and would develop strange feelings for her. But soon Meritus found something wrong, because there was no worldly desire in Yi Chuan's eyes, and he looked at her as if he was looking at a piece of pork. This move might be useful to others, but it is obviously an ineffective skill for Yi Chuan. A pighead, no matter how charming and seductive he is still a pighead after all. People will not have the desire to play old Beijing chicken roll with a pig's head. People can't, or at least shouldn't. Yi Chuan, who was not affected by the charm, directly pulled out the butcher knife from the back of Meritus. In Yi Chuan's eyes, Meritus at this moment was no different from the pig he had slaughtered before. It's just a more powerful pig. Swish, the sharp blade flashed, and a fine bloodstain appeared on Meritus's fair and slender neck. Her head fell slowly, with an expression of disbelief on her face, as if she had never expected that she would die at the hands of a human who was only at the first level of the Ascension realm. The butcher Yi Chuan used the butcher knife to kill a special pig. The level increased by 150%, the additional damage of the pig nemesis increased by 1%, and the free attribute increased by 0.1 points. Although the decision to kill Meritus was extremely risky, the benefits it brought to Yi Chuan were also extremely exaggerated. His realm directly broke through to the second level of the Dengtang realm, and he was only a few steps away from the third level of the Dengtang realm. It was also because of Qian Ligong's help that Yi Chuan dared to make such a bold decision. If he were alone, he would definitely run away if he saw this succubus. At this time, Zhang Xian and the other three were dumbfounded. Their eyes were empty and dull, and they looked at Yi Chuan as if they were looking at an alien. A first-level master in the Dengtang realm killed a fifth-level master in the counterattack. What kind of fantasy is this? Even novels wouldn't dare to write this, right? Although the succubus was not good at close combat, and was caught off guard by Qian Ligong's full-strength hammer. But that is also a fifth-level succubus in the master realm. If someone told them such news without seeing it with their own eyes, they would scold the other person for talking nonsense. Yi Chuan squatted in front of Meredith's body and began to skillfully loot the body. He first calmly dissected the succubus. A succubus at the master level should have magic crystals condensed in its body. Sure enough, after Yi Chuan removed Meredith's internal organs one by one and arranged them in order, he found a crystal that was emitting a strange light. The crystal is pitch black and oval in shape, like a black agate, but it feels extremely warm and soft to the touch, and contains terrible power. The cultivation methods of alien races are different from those of humans. They will condense an energy crystal in their bodies. For example, demons at a high level will condense demon crystals, and monsters at a high level will condense monster crystals. These energy crystals have many uses. They can be used to enchant spiritual weapons, refine medicine, and after special processing, combat professions can also absorb the energy in them. The price of a magic crystal from a master-level demon clan can easily be comparable to that of a top-grade yellow-level spiritual weapon. It's a great profit. Yi Chuan smiled brightly. This magic crystal alone was enough to justify the big risk he had just taken to deal with Meredith. He turned around and was about to share his joy with Qian Ligong and the others, but he saw Qian Ligong and the other three looking at him warily, with fear in their eyes. "Uncle Xian, what's wrong with you?" Yi Chuan asked puzzledly. "No, it's okay, brother Yi Chuan, you go ahead and do your thing." Qian Ligong's throat ball rolled up and down. When they saw Yi Chuan skinning the Fengwo Liyuan before, they didn't feel anything. After all, the Fengwo Liyuan was just a beast. However, until they saw with their own eyes Yi Chuan dismantling the humanoid creature Meredith into a pile of parts bit by bit, just like a butcher cutting up an ox, they couldn't help but feel a surge of fear in their hearts. There was no way. Yi Chuan dismembered Meredith too quickly and his technique was too elegant. It was so elegant that they even suspected that Yi Chuan had ever conducted experiments on living people before. Yi Chuan seemed to have guessed something and touched his nose awkwardly. It seemed normal for a pig to be scared when seeing another pig being dismembered in front of it. At this moment, several figures rushed over and appeared in front of Yi Chuan. They knelt down on one knee in front of Zhang Xian. The leader had short hair that stood up like steel needles, and the aura he exuded was so overwhelming that even Qian Ligong felt overwhelmed. "Miss, we are late. Please punish us. This is not your fault. We didn't expect anyone in the team to betray the Nine Heavens Alliance. You came fast enough. Please escort us back." Zhang Xian nodded, looked at Yi Chuan and asked, "Yi Chuan, will you come with us?" "No, I already know how to get back to Qingcheng, you guys go first." Yi Chuan shook his head. He had teamed up with Zhang Xian and the others before in order to get them to help him deal with Meredith. Now that Meredith was dead, there was naturally no need for him to team up with Zhang Xian and the others anymore. "Okay, then you just be careful. If you have figured it out and want to join the Judean Alliance, you can come to me directly. As long as you join the Judean Alliance, you will definitely have a spot in the Burning Heaven Valley in half a year," Zhang Xian promised. As soon as these words were spoken, the few people from the Nine Heavens Alliance who had just arrived looked at Yi Chuan in surprise. A place in Burning Heaven Valley was a heavy promise. You know, many young talents in the Judean Alliance fought hard but still couldn't get a spot. "Thank you, I'll think about it." Yi Chuan nodded lightly. For combat professions, joining a big force does have many benefits. For example, the big forces have more resources to improve your strength. There are strong people who can guide you, you can go out of the city to hunt ferocious beasts and alien races, and there are teammates who can take care of you. But the problem is, Yi Chuan is not a combat professional. He was just an ordinary butcher. He only needed to keep killing pigs to become stronger. Joining a certain force would be a kind of bondage for him. After watching Zhang Xian and her group leave, Yi Chuan did not choose to return to Qingcheng, but instead carried a butcher knife and headed towards the direction of Meredith's lair. It's not enough to just get a magic crystal. A 5th-level master succubus must have a lot of good stuff in its lair. Relying on his memory, Yi Chuan quickly returned to Meredith's lair and crawled into an inconspicuous cave. There was nothing outside the cave except for corpses that had been sucked dry by Meredith. These corpses are enough to let the lost beasts and humans know that this cave is not a place they can enter casually. After entering the cave, Yi Chuan first came to the torture room where Meredith had hung him up in the beginning. After passing the torture room, he arrived at Meredith's real lair. Tick, tick, The sound of dripping water came into Yi Chuan's ears. After passing a stone pillar in front, a small pond came into Yi Chuan's sight. In the pool, the dark purple water was flowing slowly. Water drops fell on the pool, creating ripples and strange energy fluctuations. Could this be the Dark Devil's Pond? Yi Chuan pondered for a long time in his mind, and finally remembered that he had seen a description of the pond in front of him in the library of Qingcheng High School. Every time the demons advance to a higher realm, they need to use the water from the netherworld pond to forge their bodies so that their bodies can accommodate more demonic energy. The water from the Nether Devil Pond can also help strengthen the human body, so a lot of water from the Nether Devil Pond can be found for sale in exchanges in major cities. A small jar of water from the Nether Demon Pond can be sold for tens of thousands of dollars. This huge pool of water in front of him is probably worth no less than the magic crystal in his hand. I really didn't expect that the succubus Meritus was actually a wealthy woman. Yi Chuan took off all his clothes and jumped in without saying a word, submerging his head in the water and extending a hollow tube to facilitate breathing. The water in the pond was icy cold. Yi Chuan, who had just entered the pond, shivered and his lips turned blue from the cold. Waves of tingling sensations kept coming, as if countless steel needles were piercing Yi Chuan's pores all over his body at the same time. The intense pain made Yi Chuan's face begin to twist, but he clenched his teeth and had no intention of coming out of the nether demon pool. Yi Chuan could clearly feel that his body's strength began to slowly increase under the stimulation of the dark demon pond. The improvement in his physical strength not only gives him stronger defense and vitality, but also gives him more terrifying instantaneous explosive power. Time passes by little by little. Yi Chuan didn't know how long he had been soaking in the demonic pond. The pain brought to him by the water began to subside little by little, until the water of the nether demon pond no longer had any stimulation to his body. Yi Chuan stood up. Purple-black water droplets slid down his muscular body and slowly dripped onto the surface of the pool. After being baptized by the dark demon pond, his body began to emit a metallic luster. The 5 fingers gently closed together, and a powerful force was transmitted from the tip of the fist to every part of the body. Feeling the surging power in his body, Yi Chuan grinned. He was confident that even with his bare hands and without a butcher knife, he could kill a third-level beast with his physical strength. Such a huge demonic pond cannot be wasted. Yi Chuan stroked his chin, then he found all the water containers in Meritus's lair, filled them all up, and stuffed them into his bag. Even so, he only took away 1/3 of the lake water. It would be nice to have a spiritual weapon that can store things, or a pair of yoga pants would be fine. Yi Chuan looked at the remaining half of the nether demon pond and felt regretful. Although the energy of the water had decayed after he soaked it in it, it could still be sold for a lot of money if he took it out. Since he couldn't take it away, Yi Chuan didn't force it and started searching in Meritus's lair. Soon he found a few bundles of skill scrolls, but unfortunately they were all engraved with the language of the demons, and Yi Chuan couldn't understand a single word. He could only stuff all the things into his backpack without any preparation. At this point, Yi Chuan had looted almost all the valuable things in Meritus's nest, and the remaining things were either worthless or could not be taken away by Yi Chuan. Yi Chuan walked out of the cave contentedly, carrying a backpack that was about to burst. After returning to Qingcheng, Yi Chuan went directly to the exchange. As soon as he walked in, everyone in the exchange focused their attention on him. The reason was simple. The bag Yi Chuan was carrying looked too big, just like an ant carrying a grain of rice. "Hello, I'm here to sell something." When Yi Chuan put the backpack on the counter, the whole counter shook. The person who received him happened to be the plump black lady from last time. She looked at Yi Chuan with some resentment in her eyes. "Am I ugly?" "Ah." Yi Chuan was stunned for a moment. "Did I say I'm ugly?" the young lady asked. "It's okay, not ugly," Yi Chuan said with a guilty conscience. He thought everyone was a pig. How could he tell which pig head was better looking? "Then why didn't you contact me?" These few nights, she wore a set of cute lingerie and waited for Yi Chuan, but he never showed up. I've been busy these past few days. You should help me deal with my things first." Yi Chuan took out a teapot from his bag, the mouth of which had been sealed. "What is this?" the young lady asked confusedly. "The water from the dark demon pond." Yi Chuan's words surprised the young lady, and she opened the lid of the teapot to examine it. "Yes, Although there are a lot of impurities, it is indeed the water from the Nether Demon Pond. Is this the only teapot? And 5 buckets, 4 cups, 3 basins, 2 spittoons, a night pot. Yi Chuan kept taking out various containers of lake water from his bag, shocking everyone around the counter. No, buddy, you're just using these scraps of copper and iron to fill the water of the Nether Demon Pond. This is just like putting motai in a red plastic bucket. Sir, please wait a moment. I need to find a staff member to test it. The young lady left with the teapot and returned to the counter after a while. There's nothing wrong with the water, except that it has too many impurities, so we can only buy it at 70% of the market price at most. Do you think that's okay? Asked the young lady. Can. Yi Chuan nodded. This demonic pond had been soaked in by at least him and Meritus, so it was normal for it to have a lot of impurities. Being able to sell it for 70% of the price was already beyond Yi Chuan's expectations. I've counted. You have a total of 78.5 liters of lake water. The market price is 35,000 per liter, and with a 30% discount, I'll give you 25,000 per liter, which is a total of 1,962,500. Do you think there's any problem? No problem, just transfer the money. Soon Yi Chuan received the news that the money had arrived. He felt a sense of unreality as he suddenly became a millionaire. There should be someone in your exchange who knows magic words, right? How much does it cost to hire a translator? Yi Chuan asked. We charge by the word. Each word is only $1. No cheating, the young lady said with a smile. Sure, help me translate these 4 bundles of skill scrolls. Yi Chuan took out 4 bundles of skill scrolls he found in Meritus's lair and handed them over. After a while, the young lady returned and all 4 bundles of scrolls had been translated into human language. Hello sir, the translation is complete. Among these 4 bundles of scrolls, there are 3 intermediate skill scrolls and 1 advanced skill scroll. Yi Chuan took it and took a look. The skills recorded in the 3 intermediate skill scrolls were all charm skills. These skills may be very useful for succubus, but they are a bit useless for Yi Chuan. Instead of charming the pig head, he prefers to chop it off directly with a knife. He simply sold all 3 skill scrolls to the exchange. After selling the 3 intermediate scrolls, he received another 150,000. However, the advanced skill scroll aroused Yi Chuan's interest. A dazzling blow. He didn't want to learn the succubus's charm, but he was still very interested in the succubus's illusion. Illusion is the most special of all skills. Sometimes it can be called a magical skill, and sometimes it is worthless. It mainly depends on how the user uses it. After all, the lethality of illusion itself is extremely limited, but if used well, it can have a surprising effect. Yi Chuan put the last skill scroll back into his arms. As for the magic crystal, he was not going to sell it. He already had a huge sum of 3.5 million on him at the moment, so he was not short of money for the time being. He wanted to use Meritus's magic crystal to improve his own strength, such as enchanting the dragon-slaying sword. With his current financial resources, even if he couldn't hire Master Tieshin, he could at least hire a famous blacksmith. Yi Chuan turned around and wanted to leave, but the young lady hurriedly caught up with him and handed Yi Chuan another contact number. Sir, remember to contact me. Hot water, jelly, popping candy, I can make them all. After saying that, the young lady shyly returned to the counter. Yi Chuan's 2 moves made her more convinced that he was a potential stock. The corner of Yi Chuan's mouth twitched slightly. Was this adjusted? He turned around and threw the contact information directly into the trash can. It is easy to adjust it, but I is just a word, and he said it once. What's more, he couldn't have any worldly desires for a pighead. Yi Chuan went straight home, wanting to share his joy of becoming rich with his parents. He opened the door. Mom and Dad, I'm back. Yi Chuan's excited expression suddenly froze on his face because he found that his home was in a mess. The sofa was overturned, the TV fell to the ground, and all kinds of furniture fragments were scattered all over the floor. The whole house looked like it had been visited by bandits. Dad, Mom, Yi Chuan's heart skipped a beat and he instantly became panicked. He searched frantically throughout the house, but his parents were nowhere to be found. Yi Chuan's eyes turned red instantly. No. Calm down first. Yi Chuan took big gulps of fresh air and forced himself to calm down. His father was a butcher with some reputation, and his mother was a cook. Both of them work in life-related professions, and their daily interpersonal relationships are simple. They have never offended anyone and have good relationships with their neighbors. They can't just disappear for no reason. Unless. Lu, wake up. Yi Chuan suddenly raised his head, his scarlet eyes filled with furious murderous intent, like a wild beast ready to devour its prey at any time. Not surprisingly, Lu Xing was closely related to his parents' disappearance. Yi Chuan picked up a butcher knife and rushed directly to Qingcheng High School. The security guard at the gate was unable to stop Yi Chuan, who had already reached the second level of the hall realm. Yi Chuan simply walked through the school gate and headed straight for the archives room. The teacher in the archives room wanted to stop him, but Yi Chuan knocked him unconscious. He then looked through the files of their class and soon found Lu Jinglong's address. Yi Chuan followed the address on the file and rushed over directly. Lu Jinglong's home is located in the wealthy area of Qingcheng. It is mostly composed of single-family villas with yards, and there are security guards at the door. Seeing Yi Chuan coming aggressively, several security guards wanted to step forward to stop him, but they couldn't even touch the corner of Yi Chuan's clothes, their speed difference was too big. Yi Chuan went straight to Lu Jinglong's door. Bang! Without saying a word, he kicked out, and the iron gate of Lu Jinglong's yard flew out. Which fool is so desperate that he dares to kick my Lu Xing's door? The noise at the gate soon alarmed Lu Xing, who was in the house, and he walked out with Lu Jinglong. When Lu Xing saw that the person coming was Yi Chuan, he was stunned for a moment, then sneered. Is it you? I thought you had already run away. Are you brave enough to kill my people? Stop talking nonsense. Where are my parents? Yi Chuan's eyes were filled with anger. His parents are his only relatives in the world and his most important bottom line. This bottom line is like a dragon's reverse scale, touching it means death. Your parents, ha ha ha, if a son is not well educated, it is the fault of his parents. Of course, your parents should bear the consequences of your mistakes. Where are they? I have chopped them up and fed them to the fish. Calculating the time, they will soon be pulled out. Lu Xing crossed his arms and looked at Yi Chuan with a teasing expression, his eyes full of sarcasm. This is what happens when you bully my son. Do you understand? Lu Jinglong hid behind Lu Xing, his eyes filled with excitement. There was a buzzing sound in Yi Chuan's ears. From the moment Lu Xing said that his parents had been chopped into pieces, he could not hear any sound. He could only see a pig head chattering in front of him. Dead. His parents died. Yi Chuan only felt his hands and feet were cold, and there was a void in his eyes. He was the one who killed his parents. He didn't know how to accept this fact. It was not until the 5 security guards pinned Yi Chuan to the ground that Yi Chuan's consciousness finally returned to his body. When Yi Chuan regained consciousness, his eyes instantly turned red. Get lost. Yi Chuan was like an enraged beast, and he directly threw the 5 security guards who were pressing on him away. After being tempered in the nether demon pool, his body had already reached an extremely strong level, which was simply incomparable to those security guards. Yi Chuan stared at Lu Xing with murderous intent in his eyes. Lu Xing, the hatred for killing my father and mother is irreconcilable. I will use the blood of your entire family to comfort the spirits of my parents in heaven. As soon as he finished speaking, Yi Chuan rushed towards Lu Xing. Ha ha, what a joke, just you. Lu Xing's face was full of disdain. He had heard this kind of threatening words countless times before, but he was still alive and well. The strong prey on the weak. This is an eternal law from ancient times to the present. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for being too weak. Yi Chuan clenched his 5 fingers into a fist and smashed it directly towards Lu Xing's head. Lu Xing calmly raised one hand, trying to block Yi Chuan's attack. In his opinion, with his strength at the 6th level of the Dengtang realm, wouldn't it be easy for him to stop Yi Chuan? But at the moment when their fists touched, Lu Xing's expression changed, his pupils shrank suddenly, and his face was full of fear. An incomparable and terrifying force came from his palm, directly driving his palm to smash hard on his face. Bang! Lu Xing's body flew out like a cannonball and crashed into the house behind. In an instant, gravel flew everywhere and smoke filled the sky. This sudden scene frightened Lu Jinglong so much that he stood there in a daze, with his mouth wide open, staring at Yi Chuan stupidly. His father, Lu Xing, is a powerful person at the 6th level of Dengtang realm. Yi Chuan actually knocked a 6th level Dengtang realm cultivator away with one punch using his bare hands. Isn't this guy a butcher? Why does the butcher have such a horrible fight? Crash. Lu Xing climbed out from the rubble with a sullen face, his eyes filled with uncertainty. He definitely didn't let up just now, but he really couldn't block Yi Chuan's punch. His arm was still aching slightly. Yi Chuan's punch was like a huge truck hitting him. Second level of the Dengtang realm. It was only at this moment that Lu Xing finally realized something was wrong. His pupils suddenly shrank. The aura emanating from Yi Chuan had already reached the second stage of the ascending realm. A butcher, how could he level up so quickly? Even if he killed all the pigs in Qingcheng, it would be impossible for him to reach the Dengtang realm so quickly, right? Ignited by the flames of hatred, Yi Chuan ignored Lu Xing's surprise and rushed towards Lu Xing again. He wants revenge. He didn't want to let Lu Xing die so easily with a butcher knife, he wanted to beat Lu Xing to death with one punch after another. Yi Chuan rushed forward again, and a suffocating sense of oppression came over Lu Xing, as if the one rushing towards him was not a person, but a ferocious beast. Yi Chuan put his 5 fingers together and punched Lu Xing with all his strength. Lu Xing raised his hand to block. This time he was prepared, but he was still knocked back more than 10 meters before he could stabilize himself. His feet left 2 long grooves on the ground. Before Lu Xing could catch his breath, Yi Chuan's figure caught up with him again like a ghost. Lu Xing took a deep breath. The boy in front of him was not only extremely powerful, but also extremely fast. But he was too late to be shocked. Yi Chuan had already kicked him in the head with a whip. Lu Xing was kicked out again. After landing, Lu Xing also became angry. Boy, do you really think I, Lu Xing, am made of mud? Rock armor. Lu Xing finally used his true strength. As a mid-level combat professional, his entire body began to be covered with hard granite armor, turning grayish-white. The hard granite almost covered Lu Xing's entire body, leaving only his eyes, nostrils and mouth exposed. Yi Chuan punched Lu Xing again, knocking him back repeatedly. But this time, with the protection of the granite armor, Lu Xing suffered almost no injuries. Boy, don't waste your energy. You are just a butcher, and it is impossible for you to break through my defense. Lu Xing roared, and after Yi Chuan punched him again, Lu Xing punched Yi Chuan in the chest with his backhand. The huge impact force caused Yi Chuan to hit the iron railing behind him heavily, causing the railing to be severely deformed. If his body had not been strengthened in the Dark Demon Pond, this punch would have seriously injured him. Lu Xing jumped high and was about to hit Yi Chuan with a flying knee. Boom! The flying knee went straight through Yi Chuan's body and hit the ground heavily, creating a deep hole in the ground. Afterimage. Lu Xing was stunned for a moment, and Yi Chuan had already appeared behind Lu Xing with the speed boost brought by the nether shadow. Bang! Yi Chuan punched Lu Xing on the cervical vertebrae, followed by the second punch, the third punch, and the fourth punch. Yi Chuan was like a robot with a set program. There was no fluctuation in his eyes as he quickly threw punches one after another. Each of his punches hit the same place, and he showed no intention of stopping until his hands were bloody. Lu Xing was stunned by the violent attack and didn't even realize he should fight back. Click, click, click. Suddenly, there were bursts of shattering sounds coming from behind his neck. Under Yi Chuan's powerful fist, the granite armor behind his neck actually shattered. What? Lu Xing was shocked, and there was even a hint of fear in his eyes. He blew up his granite armor with his bare hands. How strong is this guy's body? Lu Xing clenched his fist and swung it directly backwards. Yi Chuan raised his hand to block, but was still blown away. Even with the damage reduction of the pig nemesis, a trickle of blood still seeped out of the corner of Yi Chuan's mouth due to his reckless fighting style. But he didn't care at all. He leaned forward again, took Lu Xing's elbow with his back, and then punched Lu Xing in the abdomen. In an instant, spider web-like cracks appeared on the granite armor on Lu Xing's abdomen. Mad. You're a madman. Lu Xing's pupils shrank sharply. Yi Chuan was fighting with a completely reckless attitude, even if it meant exchanging injuries for injuries. He hit hard, trying to knock Yi Chuan back. But Yi Chuan was like having steel nails under his feet, and he didn't retreat even a single step. When Lu Xing kicked him, he kneed Lu Xing in the back, and when Lu Xing punched him, he elbowed Lu Xing directly. The two men stood there and kept bombarding each other, and the granite armor on Lu Xing's body was shattered bit by bit. The more Lu Xing fought, the more frightened he became. The guy in front of him was a monster who didn't care about his life. He had never seen a life-related profession with such a strong body and close combat ability. Lu Xing was really scared. His granite armor was broken so badly that it was no longer enough to protect him. The frightened Lu Xing seized the opportunity and turned around to escape, but how could Yi Chuan give him a chance? At the moment when Lu Xing turned around and tried to escape, Yi Chuan rushed forward and kicked Lu Xing hard in the back with a left kick, causing Lu Xing to stagger out. Immediately afterwards, a right whip kick hit Lu Xing's head, and Lu Xing fell to the ground like a golden mountain or a jade pillar. Yi Chuan rode directly on him. 1 punch, 2 punches, 3 punches, bang, bang, but as Yi Chuan's fists became heavier, his 2 arms gradually began to fall down weakly, and his forearms were twisted into a strange angle, obviously broken. After a few punches, the granite armor on Lu Xing's face cracked, and then Yi Chuan's fist began to come into close contact with Lu Xing's head. In a short while, Lu Xing's head had swelled up into a huge pig's head. Lu Xing could even hear the teeth-grinding wailing sound coming from his own skull. Yi Chuan's condition at this moment was not very good. His fist was already covered in blood, and one could even see the white bones underneath. But Yi Chuan still had no intention of stopping. With an expressionless face, he punched Lu Xing's head again and again. Lu Xing's eyes, which were swollen into a line, showed a light of extreme fear. Yi Chuan really wanted to beat him to death. Lu Xing screamed in fear. Wait a minute, I didn't kill your parents. It's none of my business. They may not be dead yet. Lu Xing's words made Yi Chuan pause with his fist, and there was a hint of smartness in his dead eyes. Where are my parents? As soon as Yi Chuan opened his mouth, he realized that his voice had become hoarse without him noticing. I don't know. Lu Xing shook his head. Seeing Yi Chuan's fist about to fall again, Lu Xing screamed in fear. I really don't know. After I found out that you killed 3 of my men that day, I did want to capture your parents. But when I got to your house, besides your parents, there were also a few people in black robes. A man in a black robe. What kind of man in a black robe? Yi Chuan frowned. From childhood to adulthood, he could not remember ever seeing a man in a black robe at home. I can't see clearly. Those people are completely hidden under their hoods. I can't even tell if they are men or women. But there is one thing I can be sure of. A gleam of extreme fear flashed in Lu Xing's eyes, just like a captive sheep meeting a wild tiger. Those black-robed men are very strong. Extremely strong. Just the aura they accidentally emanate is enough to make me breathless. There must be no strong men of this level in Xinjiang. Yi Chuan frowned even deeper. His parents were just 2 ordinary people. How could they provoke such a powerful person? Those black-robed men seemed to have some conflict with your parents. They were arguing, but I couldn't hear what they were arguing about. Oh, yes, there was a ghost face logo on their black robes. Lu Xing started talking like beans pouring out of a bamboo tube. I wanted to get closer to listen to what was going on, but at that moment, a man in a black robe found me. He looked at me and I fainted. When I woke up, there was no one in your house, only a mess. Everything I said is true. Your parents' affairs have nothing to do with me. Lu Xing tried desperately to explain. Under the threat of death, his face was filled with fear. The man in black robe, Quarrel, disappeared. Yi Chuan frowned deeply. He was puzzled. Could it be that his parents were hiding something from him? But fortunately, his parents still had a chance to live in this world, which made Yi Chuan feel relieved. He lowered his eyes to look at Lu Xing, who was pinned down by him. A hint of murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Although Lu Xing did not kill his parents, it was obvious that he and Lu Xing had become mortal enemies. As the saying goes, when will the cycle of revenge end? There is no need to worry about being ground to dust. If Lu Xing doesn't die, he will probably continue to cause trouble for himself in the future. Lu Xing was frightened by Yi Chuan's eyes, which looked like he was looking at a piece of pork. He said tremblingly, "You, don't mess around. There are surveillance cameras here. And so many people are watching. If you kill me, you won't be able to get away." Yi Chuan looked up, and then he realized that his fight with Lu Xing had already alarmed the neighbors. They all leaned out of their sight out of curiosity to watch the fun. He let go of Lu Xing, dusted himself off, and left silently. Killing someone in the city in public would be very troublesome. After Yi Chuan left, Lu Xing, who survived the disaster, gasped heavily. He lay on the ground, staring at the sky with empty eyes. He had never felt so close to death. How could a butcher have such terrifying fighting power? Was this reasonable? After a moment, Lu Xing's eyes gradually became ferocious. This matter cannot be let go so easily. If he can't deal with Yi Chuan, then find someone who can deal with Yi Chuan. He just didn't believe that even a second-level master couldn't kill Yi Chuan. Lu Xing staggered to his feet, and Lu Jinglong rushed over to support him. Dad, are you okay? Lu Jinglong's face was full of shame, because when he saw Yi Chuan beating up Lu Xing just now, he didn't even have the courage to step forward and hold Yi Chuan back. At that time, Yi Chuan was like a mad beast. Lu Jinglong really wanted to come over and stop Yi Chuan, but his legs were completely out of control. Yi Chuan's existence has obviously become a mountain that Lu Jinglong can never overcome in his heart. It's okay, don't worry about it, Dad will take care of it. Go get Dad's cell phone. A fierce look flashed in Lu Xing's eyes. After Lu Jinglong took the phone, Lu Xing made a call. The moment the call was connected, Lu Xing endured the severe pain in his body and spoke in a very flattering manner. Cousin, it's me, Lu Xing. Oh, Lu Xing, what's wrong? Lei Gang sat carelessly on the soft sofa, with two delicate girls serving him on his left and right, and his taste buds were in constant contact with Klaus's body. Cousin, I was almost killed. You have to take care of it for me. Lu Xing said angrily. Oh, there is someone in Qingcheng who dares to kill you. Who is that person? Lei Gang frowned. The other party doesn't have a big background, just an ordinary family, but this kid is very weird. He is a butcher, but his body is incredibly strong. I suspect this kid has something good on him, cousin. Lu Xing said with a turn of his eyes. Oh, a butcher could almost kill you, a 6th-level Dengtang realm cultivator. I'm a little interested then. Just wait, I'll go to your place tonight. Lei Gang hung up the phone right after he finished speaking and asked the girl. Who is the guy who ruined my Leixi Alliance plan? Have you found him? The girl raised her head. Master Lei Gang, not yet. The people below are already investigating urgently. Well, hurry up and investigate. We can't let this matter go so easily. I'm going to make that kid pay with blood. A murderous intent flashed in Lei Gang's eyes. Their Leixi Alliance had finally found such a good opportunity to encircle and kill the people of Jutian Alliance, but in the end it was ruined by a wild boy who appeared out of nowhere. Even if Lei Gang could swallow this, the people of the Leixi Alliance couldn't. On the other side, Yi Chuan went straight back to his home. The house is empty. At this time in the past, his mother would have prepared hot pork bone soup waiting for him. Yi Chuan started to clean up the house bit by bit. He believed that his parents would definitely not leave without any reason. Even if they had to leave, his parents would definitely leave him some clues. Yi Chuan cleaned very carefully, even the overturned trash can was not spared, and he cleared out the garbage piece by piece. In the huge house, the only sound was Yi Chuan cleaning up the debris. Finally, when cleaning the dining table in the living room, Yi Chuan found a letter pressed under the marble slab. Yi Chuan suddenly became excited, but at the same time he felt a little scared. After taking a deep breath, Yi Chuan's eyes calmed down. He opened the envelope and pulled out a piece of letter paper from it. After seeing the contents of the letter, Yi Chuan's pupils shrank suddenly, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. Please like my videos and subscribe for more videos.